Hello.
See, welcome to the South. We've invited our favorite Assamite hitman with us again.
Yes, we
And
have.
yeah, we've got blood, we've got murder, we've got the beats.
Yes,
Everything's great.
Everything I love.
Yep.
we have all the proper accoutrement for this episode of murder and mountaineering.
Now, I really wanted to have Arrested Development playing in the background for this, but I'm pretty sure it's going to get content ID'd, and the instrumental I was looking at didn't even get content ID'd by the label. It got content ID'd by a show that used that song in its soundtrack. Just to let you know just how hard Arrested Development, the band, has fallen off.
That's kind of sad.
Well, it's the front man for its speech to do is an outspoken racist that hated both white people and his own race. So, he gets what's coming to him.
Good lord. How can you be Uncle Ruckus to two races?
It's that his whole shtick was Afrocentrism, but he got pissed off at black communities for not being black enough by his standard. So you can imagine how well that went over.
It's quite literally that episode of the Boondocks where Riley goes back to meet his old friend, Huey goes back to meet their old friend, and he's hooked up with this dude who's like hardcore Afrocentric to the point where even Huey and Riley are like, bro, what the hell are you talking about?
He comes up and he does the little drum spoken word poem, and everybody's saying, "Hey, you, that was really gay." That's just the most fucking base show on television.
I fucking love the Boondocks.
John Witherspoon had to go and die. Ugh.
Yes. Okay, so today,
Rage Across Appalachia.
sadly Ryan could not be joining us because the Uktana had some work to do at his house.
Yeah, ain't this a bitch? His fucking house froze over, the power line snapped, and now he's been in complete darkness for 24 hours.
I really hope it gets
when
fixed.
they go collab.
Yes.
Exactly. It's what you get for playing the Bone Gnar.
But the Bone Gnar are funny. I like the Bone Gnars. We'll talk more about a base Bone Gnar later on in the episode because that's my part of the episode.
We got a shitload of Bone Gnars in this book.
Yeah, we have a shitload to talk about with this book because today we're talking about the book that I will be running.
Yeah, the date's going to stand. Now make sure we're off the title card before we get into this shit.
Yes, that I absolutely can because today we're talking about... Jesus, why is that not recording right? Why is it checking my system settings and not the... Oh my good lord. Hang on.
What's the issue with it?
I gotta change
Did we get
properties.
any of that?
Select monitor.
Rewind time.
Yeah, did we get any of that?
There we go. Okay, yeah, we got it. Yeah, my monitor was being fucky. I had to do like a power. I did do like a power reset.
So how much did we actually record?
No, we're still good. Like I was on the title card and now I'm back on the monitor. It's just that I had to change it from the title card to the title card to the monitor. But now the monitor was showing my system settings, but now it's showing the actual it's showing the actual book cover. So now we're in the clear.
There we go. It also showed your IP address, right?
No. If I wanted to do that, I'd pull up the command window and dox myself, but I'm not that dumb. Nice
argument. However, post your IP address in the chat.
Yes. People be like, oh, it's fucking 101.86.1.1. My brother in Christ, that's your IP address.
Alright, so Applehead, you have no idea what we're talking about when it comes to Appalachia. Allow us to learn what's down here.
So, there's this big fuck-off range of mountains spanning from just about an hour north of me in the middle of Pennsylvania, all the way down past to where Johnny lives.
Yep, all the way into Georgia.
Yep. Little visual reference. Let's pull up the El Goog maps. Give me a sec.
Let's see. Appalachian mountain maps.
The El
Who's going to get to
maps.
it first, you or me?
Google.com/maps.
I'm going to beat you to it.
You probably are. Let me pull up the fucking terrain.
There it is. No,
yep. Okay.
There it is. Just beat you to it. Is that low res or what?
Beat me to it.
Yeah.
Found this
I have a
shitty low resolution image.
I have a question for you guys.
What is it?
Is the Appalachian mountain range is bigger than Carpathian mountain range.
Yes, I mean,
I think it is.
you
actually.
compare, you compare apples to apples with size in America versus size in Europe. You drive for 4 hours in Europe, you're between 3 different countries. You drive for 4 hours in America, you're still in the same state you started in.
Yeah,
That's
but
yes.
also like the theory, like when you more from the center of the globe, right?
Yes.
It's more stretched
Yes.
out, so it's not like the same. So I asked.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, because we go into like the whole like political shit behind that, but we're not talking about that today. You also got the other map that stretches out Africa and the lower part of the world instead. It's because sailors need to know where they were going and didn't have that much business down south. That's the reason why. Let's talk about what exactly this place is. It's that mountain range that's fucking huge. It's older than the Rocky Mountains, which you can find over in Mormon country.
yep,
No,
over in the
Utah,
it's called the
Colorado.
Mountain Time Zone, really.
Yeah, the Mountain Time Zone, the Mormon Time Zone. The M stands for Mormon.
Yes. So basically,
Because that's all that's over there.
Well, the Rocky Mountains spans from from Alberta, Canada, all the way down to, I believe, New Mexico. Appalachia
Exactly.
spans from North Alabama all the way up to New England and through Nova Scotia, Canada.
Which is a very beautiful country until Justin Trudeau set on fire.
Well, no, that was not Quebec, but I'm trying to remember which province. I think he set Ontario on fire.
Yeah, it was eco-terrorist.
Yeah, he really was. Anyway,
Right.
aside from eco-terrorism, basically this place is a vast, beautiful wilderness full of sprawling mountains, enormous countrysides of just trees for miles and miles around, and was also one of the spots of some of the largest coal mining enterprises in America. During the Industrial Revolution, a lot of coal mines started up around this area when farmers had discovered that there'd be black gold in them thar hills, and decided to start clear-cutting forests and strip mining the mountains to find as much coal as humanly possible in order to bolster American industry within the early industrial America.
Post 2 pictures of what the Shenandoah looks like up close. I visited
Yes.
Kyle for the Shell Lords episode, not specifically for that, but
Yeah, it was just when he happened to be in town, but he drove through here.
yeah, I drove through the Shenandoah just to get like a better idea of what that area looked like, and it was right at the start of autumn, so it was absolutely lovely going through there. I remember Google Maps kept going back and forth between saying, "Welcome to West Virginia. Welcome to Maryland. Welcome to West Virginia," and it just kept going back and forth between those two
near
for
Harper's
about 15
Ferry,
minutes.
likely. Also, we need to go there sometime because there's an awesome brewery and a couple of awesome restaurants over there. I fucking love Harper's Ferry.
There was a MAGA store there too. Drove by there. There was an entire store dedicated to Donald Trump merchandise.
As close to Cumberland as that does not surprise me.
I'm going to say, what are you going to do after 2028 when he can't run anymore? What are you going to do with that shop?
Probably just sell it off for profit. Anyway, Appalachia is fucking gorgeous, which is why you as Garrow need to defend it with every fiber of your being.
Because there's some serious socioeconomic issues here too. I'm not right at the mountains with where I drive for work. My work is there's a hard line around Statesville where I don't drive west past Statesville. But speaking to just rural America around that point, there is a lot of issues today with the world's economy. I mean, you can just look outside in America. Yeah, that's the Shenandoah during winter. There, that picture right there.
No, it's not. It's my forest, my mountains. I just want to show.
Oh yeah. Now that I'm looking for it, there's a little bit more pine trees than I thought there was going to be.
Yeah,
but yeah, there's a bunch of. There is some poverty here, like you wouldn't believe, where 5G dead zones, people with no internet whatsoever. You're stuck with one car, and that's it. And
If
big
that.
corporations are looking to buy a lot of land around this area, where going from the Piedmont region, which is where I live, all the way over into the mountains, where there's a horrible real estate market. The market is absolutely terrible right now, and only the extremely rich and extremely powerful can actually afford any of this land, which is going to get blockbusted, and then you're going to see the complete death of small businesses and the beginning of, well, we already are in the corporatocracy. It's just going to grow in size.
Yep.
So yeah, that's your current events issues with the Appalachian Mountains.
Yes.
But we get to go into fictitious history about this place now. Take a wild guess at what was the first werewolf tribe to set up shop here.
The Croatan.
Yeah, the Croatan. Middle brother.
Yeah, you're right about the Croatan being there, but it's the Uctena that got here first.
Really?
Now,
I thought that they were
here's the
be
story.
more south.
Oh yeah, you remember when the Uctena realized that Canada sucked and decided that they were going to
Oh
go
right, they
south
travel
to-
with Croatan and Croatan and Uctena
Yeah,
travel south,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
Croatan stayed,
yeah,
and they go. Okay,
yeah, the
continue.
Croatan were following them, and the Uctena were the ones leading the charge, purifying the Pure Lands because that land was chock full of worm monsters and demons, and the Uctena may or may not be more badass than the Fenris, just for that feat alone. So
I'm
they're
gonna
going
say
around.
this: when they go draw, get offenders, not Uctena.
Is it- Yep. As hard as they're fighting, yeah, you've got an argument. Uh, they are going south, just cutting a bloody swath through all these different war monsters, and they see that the wild is strong in this region. They go atop the mountains, they see that there's wild spirits galore waiting for them up on the top of the mountains. And they say, awesome, this looks like a fantastic spot to set up some cairns. Let's start doing that. The Uctena and the Croatan get building, and while they're there, they discover the Yunwi Sundi, or the Little Men. These being the Nuninhi. Yep, that's right. Rage Across Appalachia isn't just a werewolf book, it's a changeling book too. We talk about a little bit of changeling lore with this.
Yes.
And they look at them and say,
Sorry.
well, they look at
No,
the little
maybe
men and they
he-
say, well, what are you
Uh,
supposed to be? And it looks like you know what they are.
Yeah, technically they are Nuninhi, but they not.
Yeah.
They
Where,
call themselves Naninhi. Naninhi, sorry.
yeah, it's like the
It's a
difference between,
variant, but
yeah,
it's a
between
variant
true
of
Fae and
Croats.
changeling.
Yeah.
Because all changelings are part of the Fae, but not every changeling can be compared to the true Fae, where these are like the stronger Nuninhi, is that they're talking
In
to.
D&D terms, Archfey.
Where, yeah, exactly. And they look at them and say, well, where'd you come from? And they explain, oh, with the shtick, the rules behind Fae, we came from the dreams of all the native people that live here. And we reflect what they feel, we reflect their emotions, we reflect their values. And the Uctena say, this place is awesome, but we want it hotter. We want to go further south. They start going off to Mexico, and they're looking behind them, wondering why aren't the Croatan following them? And the Croatans say, we're on a mission from God. This is the land we need to be in. This is perfect. They set up shop from Virginia all the way down to Florida, and the tenor is saying, you sure you don't want to go south? I mean, what are we doing this for? Oh, we got a vision as a whole tribe from Gaia that a giant dragon's going to appear from the earth and cause mayhem, and we need to be here for that. And the tenor say, we're going to leave a few cairns behind of our own so we can hopscotch back over here just in case that does happen. You do you, brother. We're going to go down to Mexico. And that's the end of that beat, and everything was good. The Tenna purified the Pure Lands, and all was peaceful. Nothing bad happened, right?
Nothing at all. Can't think of it.
Yep.
Nah.
And there's a lot of text in here about just how the Pure Lands was just nice around this point. You had the Croatan and you had the Tenna. Those were the only two tribes around this region. But you also had the Girl, the Bastet, the Korax, the Macaulay, all of these changing breeds that were just completely chill. And they got along great with the Actina, the Croatan. They paid them no mind. They gave them no shit. Everything was just cool between everyone there. And it was a peaceful land, well, as peaceful as hunting, foraging, making sure you don't freeze to death, making sure you don't die of exposure can be. But, it's nice. And then the conquistadors had to show up. Wonderful.
Yep.
Now they say
fucked it all up.
They look back today, and the Actina say it was a mistake to let Hernando de Soto walk out of America alive. That was a mistake. If you could do it all again,
they'd kill every last one of those bastards.
And now he went off back over all the way to Spain and came back with all of his Spanish friends. And they looked okay at first. They said, we've got this stuff. We want to trade with your stuff. Everything's cool. And the ten are looking at them, scratching their chins, saying, it's kind of weird. You look and sound like no man I have ever met. But I do like the stuff you have for sale. Let's do some trade. This is all cool. And then, would you know it, the Fianna show up. And they're looking and saying, what the fuck? What are you? An orange werewolf? What are you doing down here? And the Fianna look over and they say, Kyle, that's your cue.
Wait, the Actina look over and say what now?
The Fianna look over at the Actina.
Oh, where's the Fianna?
Okay, and why are you here? Don't you have some sort of land of your own somewhere else?
Oh, you see, funny story about that. So, we was up in the Highlands. Everything was all cool. Sort of like these Highlands over here. But then, all these cocking fucking Britons showed up with guns and iron and then released a whole bunch of beans all over our land. And we sort of got overrun over there.
Okay, and who are those guys behind you? They look like the French and the English? What's their deal?
Oh, those are the same blokes that tried to kill us and drive us out of our land. They're going to do the same to you, by the way.
Why the fuck did you let them follow you?
Look, mate, we can only swim so fast.
Okay, well, here, you help us keep these guys in check. Make sure they don't do anything crazy. We'll make sure you don't die here. Okay, deal?
Alright, sounds good to me. Alright, bring the bear.
Yeah, they try making a truce with Fianna and try saying, hey, Fianna, can you make sure we don't get colonized? And instead, what the Fianna do is they say, we just lost Ireland to the Weaver. Now's the time to make Ireland 2.0, so they start building cairns. And then they take a cairn, and they tend to say, hey, what the fuck? And the Fianna say, oh, no, it's fine, we need this, it's strategic. And they say, okay, we got our eye on you. And then they tend to begin to realize just how useless the Fianna are. Well, granted, the Ephemeris weren't doing much better because they were up north bickering with the Wendigo around this time.
See, look, we just wanted to build a new home. The Get Ephemeris, we're actually colonizing.
You had an entire African continent to the south and you didn't touch it.
Yeah, but the Weaver was already colonizing that too.
And Australia? What about Australia?
That's way too far over that way, and there's spiders down there.
Okay.
Hell of a boat ride.
There's only one option that you cannot say no. Arctica.
It's too goddamn cold. And you can't brew beer in Antarctica.
But you always have the cold beer. Come on.
But there's nothing to grow the beer, though. You'd have to ship the beer down in quality. In quantity.
You have gifts. Come on.
We're good. We're not that good.
Everybody knows that.
The book forgets to mention something. That was the entire subplot with the Croatan. So around this time, the Shadow Lords come over, and they're in South America, and the Actina say, oh, good. Werewolves, but competent. Okay, we've been dealing with the Fianna. They're a bunch of idiots. Come with us, Shadow Lords. You look smart. You talk smart. You're very well spoken, well dressed. You look like you know what's going on with the Spanish and the French and the British. Let's work something out. And then, of course, the Shadow Lords say, what are you doing keeping Banes in your cairns? Oh no, they're sealed, they're not part of us. That's still a Bane. we're the Shadow Lords. We know everything, and you know nothing. And then boom, one thing led to another, and War of Rage Part 2 happened. And that resulted in the release of the Eater of Souls that traveled all the way up north and erupted from the ground, and then the Croatan did the sacrifice, and now there are no more Croatan. Meaning that all this land that was from North Carolina all the way down to Florida is now vacant, and the Fianna and the Gallifreyans look at it, say, sounds great, and start immediately invading and taking those cairns before the Uktena can take them back.
Free real estate.
Yeah.
Great, right? Gotta squat in that cairn. Nobody's in that cairn, we gotta squat in it.
Look, we're just keeping it safe. We're borrowing it. For how long? I don't know. Repopulate and we'll talk.
It's like that TikTok video of the guy who was...
Simple thieves.
it's that guy on TikTok who was teaching people how to squat in houses.
Yeah.
No,
But when they took the curse, I imagine like Fianna just like don't talk to anybody and they move in. But when they go talk to Get of Fenris like challenge them to the fight, and some wins, some loses, and that's how it went.
We were just trying to get them more mead, but no, they wanted to fight.
They get to do the slap fight.
Yep.
For it.
Yeah.
And
simple thieves. That's my opinion.
You will always lose the Gav Fenris in a fight.
Yeah, that's why we tried to negotiate by bringing mead. They like mead.
So, yeah, now everything sucks. By 1763, the French and the British have such a strong foothold in Appalachia that, yeah, the Uktena are looking over and are slamming their fists down on the panic button, saying, will anybody help us? But no, the Farah are being killed by the Fianna and Get of Fenris. And the Shadow Lords have just destroyed South America. So, shit's going downhill very quickly. And then what happens next? 1776. The best year in American history.
Hell yeah, buddy.
Revolutionary War begins. And the Uktena are looking at this, thinking, okay, you're fighting each other. Now's our chance to take it back. And what are the Fianna doing dressed in blue? Nope, Gav Fenris joined them. You're too busy fighting the American Revolution to help us with the bigger picture of chasing these guys out. But no, the Fianna want to stick it to the British, and the Gav Fenris want to fight just because it's fun. And boom, thanks to you, the Americans are going nowhere. So the Uktena, think about it. Not every member of the British Army was chased out at the end of the Revolutionary War. So the British that stayed behind in the south, the Uktena go over to the British, incognito, keeping the veil in check, and make deals with the British to help chase out Americans and slowly start getting a foothold back for the British Empire so they can reignite the war and hopefully they'll kill each other. But no, the Gav Fenris and Fianna find out about what you're doing. And then, behold, the War of Rage continues, where the Gav Fenris and the Fianna, for a brief period in history, mark the entire Uktena tribe for death and begin fighting them after the Revolutionary War.
Holy
shit. You wonder why the Uktena does not like these guys.
Yeah, it's no secret. It's no mystery, but like the fact that the unlikely alliance, the Get of Fenris, it's not really that unlikely. I mean, we said in the Get of Fenris book, like the Get of Fenris like the Fianna when they're ready for a fight, but otherwise they don't like him.
It's your lose your little brother, where if they want to nut up and try being like you, cool, but any other day, just tackle them down, shove their face in shit, call them a loser, spell them, and then be on your way.
Yep. Basically.
Question. Do Uktena send help for the Wendigo or no? Because I'm scared for the big brother.
Yeah, by that point, the Wendigo were already having their own issues with the French up north.
Fucking French.
Yeah, the
Not
French.
Only that, remember the Wendigo are strictly territorial creatures.
Exactly. They like it cold.
Yeah, but still, like, Big Brother wants help. Of course, we would help him.
Yeah. And
especially the welcomers.
At
During
the
the price
same
of
time, the
land.
Wendigo were having their massive breakdown over their Croton just died, and we blamed the Actina for not being there for them. So when the Actina ask for help, the Wendigo say, "Up yours, you piece of shit," and then
I thought
refuse it.
some would
Yeah.
help. Not the whole tribe, but I think some would help.
Yeah, it would make sense for a few Wendigo because not every Wendigo is the exact same. But the tribe as a whole wanted nothing to do with the Actina by this point.
I think elders
And
like said,
Mhm. Yeah,
we're gonna
that
fight
was
Frenchmen, not their wars.
the Guzik bot that just left. In case anyone heard a ding.
No, I didn't
Everybody
hear
heard
it.
the thing.
See, next up, 17. Nah, this is old news. Okay, 1791. Yeah, you had the Cherokee IRL that made deals and mercenary deals with the British to try to chase the Americans out of their land. Son of a bitch, I got a bubble in my throat. But of course that didn't work. And then what happens in 1823, Kyle?
They had the Civil War in 1812. I don't know about 1823.
The Indian Removal Act was signed by
Oh.
one fucking Andrew Jackson, piece of shit. I don't care how much big dick energy he had. The man got shot in the chest in a duel, stood up from the shot, and then shot the guy who shot him and walked away.
That does not excuse genocide.
Yeah, he was a badass, sure, but he was a horrible person, horrible president. Manifest Destiny. Rapper, you're familiar with this concept, right?
With what again?
Manifest Destiny.
Manifest Destiny was this ethos held by Americans in the 1800s that because you won the Revolutionary War, America was yours, the entire land was dead to rights, and it was this ambition to just expand America to be as big as possible. They made the Louisiana Purchase with France, where Thomas Jefferson just had success dropped in his lap. He could have done anything, and he would have come out the winner, no matter what he did. And
somebody like 4,000 square feet, something like 400,000 square feet of land for like $15.
Which is a perfect strategical advantage because that goes right around the Appalachian Mountains, where all the Native Americans are waiting to kill you. And then you can just flank them, work your way up the mountain, and slowly chase them out. And by 1823, Andrew Jackson said, "These guys have no rights. You now have the A-OK to kill them." Yeah. And the genocide begins. Yeah.
Being British, but you identify yourself as American, so you take the land from the natives.
Yeah. The British never fully followed through with killing everybody in India or Australia. I mean, granted, there was a lot of shit that went wrong in Australia, but
they killed a lot of Indians too.
They killed a lot of Aboriginals, yeah, but not to the industrial degree that you saw in America. And the Trail of Tears, pretty much the plan was, we're going to get you on this trail, force you into these teeny tiny log pens, so to speak, like animal pens, where you would just sit and die of exposure and disease until we all pick you up, time for the next trip, send you off to the same pen further down the road, where you do the whole thing all over again. And then that just continues until you're in the Rocky Mountains and Oklahoma. And behold, you get to sit there again until we decide it's time for it to happen all over again. Wonderful,
fuck
right?
all that.
Yeah, so if I may, about Native American demographics in America, to show you how fucking bad this is. You went from a country where you had...
and I know it's bad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you had 100% of the population being Native American prior to America. Native Americans make up 2% of America's population today.
Yeah, it's
2%.
Fucked.
There are more married homosexual men in America than there are Native Americans. To put it into perspective.
That's very, very sad.
Yeah, and same thing too, because like nobody really gives a shit about this topic either, because everybody wants to say, oh, you have to show Native Americans respect, you have to show this and that, but no, you're just treating them like victims and not actually showing them any respect. And there's so much shit that goes into this too, because Do you get any of your land back like you did with Nunavut? No, you get fucking reservations, which are these teeny tiny cities that I hesitate to call some of these cities because they're underdeveloped on purpose. Thank you, federal government, for all this money. You can ban guns. You can prevent me from buying a gun, but you can't, I don't know, give somebody a better life with a little bit of cost of living, huh? And all these different issues. You've got so many crimes against Native Americans that go completely under the radar. If I'm right, if I'm remembering this number right, there are 3,200 pending unsolved murder and missing cases in America related to Native Americans that have gone completely uninvestigated whatsoever.
It's complete and utter bullshit. It's an embarrassment to the cultural heritage of the nation, and it's just a fucking affront to the people whose land we fucking stole.
Yeah, you want to get in line for the Black Lives Matter rally. You want to get in line for the Women's March. Not one fucking word about Native American rights. And instead, what you want to tell me is that I have to be sensitive about the topic, which actually means you're trying to gatekeep and censor me from talking about the subject whatsoever.
No, we already know. We treat the Native Americans heinously, disgustingly.
Oh, and to show you how bad it is in terms of where I live, you have the Lumbee that live around this area, and my librarian when I was in high school was Lumbee. I went over and I talked with her, and I was asking about demographics because I didn't think she was Native American at all. She looked white to me, and we were talking about it, and the conversation eventually drifted to her saying, if anyone within the Lumbee Nation wants to get married, there needs to be an extensive background check to make sure that you're not first cousins or siblings with each other.
Good
As in, the
Lord.
gene pool is just that small that inbreeding is now a risk.
It's fucking terrible.
There is no like purebred Native American anymore. It's all biracial by this point. So you want to talk about ethnic cleansing? Yeah, that's what we get to. But at the same time, what's the solution to this? The solution is that I don't know. The solution is like try your best to understand what the fuck happened and try to move on, try to be better, show some actual respect and involvement for Native American culture. Because
remember what we did and remember who they are.
Yeah, I'm actually going to check out the fucking powwow this year. I'm not going to miss my ticket this time, but at the same time, actually try to help out with missing persons and murder cases. And I don't know, don't be patronizing, don't talk down, don't talk like they're victims or anything like that.
Just talk to them like human goddamn beings.
Exactly. For fuck's sake.
Okay, back to Werewolf.
Yeah, so
it's our PSA section for tonight.
Yeah, so everything is fucked in terms of antenna by this point. And it's around this point that they realize America's lost, the Pure Lands are lost, there's nothing we can do here. So the plan the Actina have, as we discussed in the Actina video, is that they all start going to the Pacific. And they sail across, find Hawaii, find the South Pacific, find Australia, find Indonesia, the Philippines, Japan, India, Southeast Asia, and start setting up shop there. And they meet the Bonars around this time. And the Bonars are the other group that's been shat on there, ever since they entered the Guru Nation. And they find some kinship with the Bonars. They're fine as far as the Actina are concerned. And don't cry too much for the Actina. In the world of Werewolf, they're doing okay now. They're probably better off than they were before, considering that the entirety of the South Pacific is their territory.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the Wendigo, instead of trying to adapt and evolve, decide we're going to do Canada ride or die, and die you shall.
I mean, they got their territory back, so
yeah. It took
at least some of it.
Years of lobbying, and now that the Wendigo have none of it, they're doing everything they can to build a massive fortress there that's far away from Canada and their social credit banking, that will live and die on its own merits. And when the apocalypse happens, you will still have none of it, and they will laugh at you while you die in a nuclear holocaust.
Yeah.
They'll be.
We have our ice fort.
They're
the fortress. They're the fortress of solitude from Superman.
Yeah.
I imagine it looks just as scary as that too, with all the spines coming out of it.
Given it's the Wendigo, that makes sense.
Yeah, like giant
There's-
jaws of the Wendigo, or like
Yeah, but
visage of the Tupalak. It could be.
Yeah. Just to ward off intruders. That'd be kind of sick though.
I mean, they've gotten pretty scary in recent years too, because they've doubled down on the red talons.
yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, there are red talons in the region, and they just get shed on the entire time.
Yep. Although I imagine
because of Fianna.
Yeah.
No, actually, if we
The
remember the
red
Fianna
talons-
episode, and that was a while ago, there are the children of
Right, yeah.
Dire who are just mostly Lupus Fianna, who swear to
Yeah,
protect
with,
the Appalachians.
They are
With-
very good with red talons because the both tribe hate black spiral dancers. Like, yes, I know.
That comes up a lot
They
in this
also-
book.
And because there's no there's no wolves in Ireland anymore, all the children of Dire were poached from the Uptenna and Red Talons Lupus kinfolk in order to make the children of Dire.
Yeah, I
So-
will say though that I think I looked it up. The last wolf in Great Britain was killed, I think, by a knight in sometime in the 1600s, I think, or in the 1800s, one or the other.
And the fun thing about 1823, it mentions here the Battle of New Orleans. After the battle, the fucking 7th generation formed around here.
Oh,
the child sacrifice and pedophilia cult. Perfect, right?
okay. Episode
So
gets
thank
real
you,
heavy
Andrew
real
Jackson.
quick.
You really were the worst president. All right, and then of course Tecumseh dies, and the plan to finally push back the encroaching Manifest Destiny fails. Operation Tecumseh was not successful, and yeah, Trail of Tears, everything sucks. Getting to my point in the book, the Civil War. So Civil War's next, okay. And you remember the Gafenris? Well, who do we fight for? Well, the Confederates have slaves. That's not cool. I mean, granted, we have some, but they're prisoners of war that we took from the worm. Okay, yeah, that's totally different. How about the Union? Nah, they're industrialists, dude. But fuck the Union. Well, who do we fight?
Yes.
Both.
Both, yeah, both.
Both
Both
is
sounds good.
Yeah.
I mean, guys, more war, more profit, and more glory.
That's
Simple as that.
basically the Get Ephemeris plan book. Step 1, war. Step 2, kill things. Step 3, profit.
And the Fianna decide that they want to fully side with the Union. So when the Revolutionary War happens, and they see Gafenris killing Union soldiers, they say, "Hey man, what the fuck is this?" Resulting in a small war happening between the Gafenris and the Fianna that finally pulls them off the backs of the Uctena. And the Uctena are both looking at them saying, "You guys are idiots. There's no winners in this war. There's only losers." And sure enough, sure, you abolished slavery. Sure, you took down the CSA. But at the same time, industrialization took over because the northern way of life prevailed. And now, fuck your environment, fuck your forest, we're going to build factories and sweatshops here instead. We got to fight to free the slaves, just so we can make the wagey instead.
Yes.
Wonderful, right? Yep.
But at least we're
that's the whole
getting
thing.
paid. No, you're still enslaved.
That's the whole thing with the Civil War, dude. No matter what side you fight for, you're going to lose by the end. Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
And, of course, industrialization takes hold, and who does it attract? The eyes of the children of Gaia and the Glasswalkers.
AKA Iron Riders in that time, or no?
Yes, Iron Riders during
by
the
this
time.
point, yeah, they were known as Iron Riders, yes. And they both look over and say, Children of Gaia, look at me. We've got some money to make here. How are we gonna make money? Here, follow my lead. And the Glasswalkers come in, and where the worm does business, the Glasswalkers copy the whole thing, make it more sustainable, and then set up shop right next to the worm. And in order to chap the ass of the worm destroying the environment, the Glasswalkers start running rival businesses to try to force them out of business. That's their way of fighting the worm. We'll show them how to do it right. That's the tactic.
Hence the corporate wolves.
And then, you have the very early corporate wolf around this time. And the Children of Gaia are out in the street doing your very early protests, and they form unions within wormish companies to try to fight against the worm from within. And the Gaia Feminist and the Fianna look at them and say, that's not going to work. And both of them go off and do acts of domestic terrorism instead.
Based.
And the Tenor are looking over and saying, the Glasswalkers and the Children of Gaia, you're a little better than the Fianna and the Gaia Feminist. Fuck those two. I'm still sorting out my feelings for the two of you. Red Talons, and they look over at the Red Talons who have fully corrupted the Wendigo. The Red Talons keep them back with the 10 foot pole.
Corrupted is a strong word. I'm gonna interrupt. Corrupted is a strong word.
See, little brother, you're hanging around this convicted this dangerous felon. I can't talk to you anymore.
Hey, look at this new friend I made, and he just reeks of blood and viscera. He's like,
he's fucking
at least he's here for me, not like you.
Oh, my campaign's gonna be a fucking nightmare.
And it's around this time that the turn of the century, going into the terrible 20th century, you had the complete destruction of the Appalachians. You had the horrible coal mining, horrible unsustainable logging. You were bringing in the Irish and the Chinese and making them work for peanuts in order to destroy the environment so the rich and powerful can profit off of it. But fear not, the Weeks Law was passed in 1911, declaring that some portions of the land will be turned into national forests. Okay, so good.
That was Teddy Roosevelt, I believe.
Thank you, Teddy Roosevelt. You were a fantastic president.
I think Teddy was kinfolk. Teddy had to be kinfolk. He was probably Glasswalker kinfolk.
He could be.
I mean,
maybe
could be, but...
Yeah, no.
Mage? Nah.
No, he's too rough and rugged.
Yeah, I believe he is just the human, but he's so badass we think he's kinfolk or mage.
Yeah.
That's true.
And just a very smart and strong human.
Bully to you.
You don't fuck with the bull moose.
Yeah.
And
they've had to come in sleep to blame me.
How funny!
Because I would find it.
And it's just the picture of Death. He pulls up the pillow, and it's just like a little comb with glasses, and Teddy comes out of the shadows. Death had to take Roosevelt sleeping. Had he been awake, there would have been a fight.
You have a few lore characters in here too, but lore character, schmore character, let's go about the general thing. The 1930s, thanks to the efforts of the worm, it looks like we're about to get a War of Rage Part 3 because, behold, the super secret Uktena pains that even the Uktena forgot about have been rediscovered by the worm and have been released, resulting in the Gaia Feminist and Fianna finally getting on the same page, working together to fight the worm wherever it dwelled and bred within Appalachia. To the point where they said, okay, we need to stop bickering with each other. We need to stop bickering with the Uktena. We actually need to nut up and be the good guys for a change. And thus they were until the Swords of Heimdall happened. The Gaia Feminists got accused of being racist and were close to being put to death. I mean, you were surrounded by all four of your accusers around this time. The Uktena, the Fianna, the Children of Gaia, and the Glasswalkers all had guns aimed at you, ready to kill you.
The camp was, but not the tribe, you know?
Exactly. The camp specifically. But they didn't know that. By that time, they just knew there's Gaia Feminists working with the Schutzstaffel. And they didn't actually know the context.
Question.
Yes.
Did the Ghetto Feminists from Appalachia went down to South America to find...
Oh yeah. Tune in the future when we cover Rage Across the Amazon and we get to talk about Gogol Fangs first.
Yeah, but also, you know, what?
That is a lore character, and that is my fucking favorite Gaia Feminist out of all of them. That dude walks around with a twin spinning Gatling gun, and he's in his 90s while he's doing this.
Good lord.
Badass old man.
He's
Yeah.
fucking
You want to-
BJ Blazkowicz.
You want to talk about? Yeah. You want to talk about BJ Blazkowicz combined with the Doomslayer? That's what he is.
I'm on
And
board.
that dude survives the apocalypse.
What?
What?
Yeah. He lives through it.
He is the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Literally standing in
badass
front of
to
literally standing in front of the Calamity Worm. I'm not stuck here with you. You're stuck here with me.
Worm can play me in my sleep.
See, rip and tear intensifies.
Yep.
And that really is just the chain gun from Doom Eternal that he has.
I mean, yes.
What's next in here? So, the turn of the 20th century, it's the 1930s, the Glasswalkers collapse. It's the Iron Riders, they collapse, Cockroach takes control and says, stop fucking around, Starbridge Lion, you're demoted. I'm taking over as CEO. We're going to fix this. And thus comes the corporate wolves, thus comes all the camps that were there to stay within the Glasswalkers, and behold, the money rolls in. And they start looking at this and say, we're going to do so much with this. And behold, the Glasswalkers become these massive philanthropists around the area, buying land and preventing the worm from taking it over. It is thanks to the combined efforts of every tribe in the area and the back of Glassworker money that the Great Smoky Mountains and the national parks and Uhari National Forest and all these other places managed to survive and now exist today as popular tourist attractions. Thank you, Glassworkers.
I'm gonna give this one to Glasswalkers.
They actually did something
They
right.
did this one job.
Yeah.
See, play Money Talks by AC/DC.
Come on.
And the magic of money. He's got
My
such a
guitar is
hard
over
voice to
there, and I
replicate.
don't know how to play that song.
The Razor's Edge was a very good album. Looking at what else we've got here. The Tennessee Valley Authority Act. So, good. Thank you, FDR. You managed to do one thing good within your existence. And we do have a few issues today with pollution and litter. I mean, litter, of course, is just going to happen anywhere, but I drive around some places around the mountains and just garbage bags all over the place, and this road is absolutely nasty. But namely, the big issue you have in terms of pollution within the Appalachians comes from Ohio more than anything else. I was thinking about that too, like, what the fuck? But it turns out, no, Ohio has been taking their waste and they've been dumping it in Appalachia. And that's been a big issue since 2018.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. Ohio just fucking sucks, dude. Just everything
Yeah,
about
Ohio's a shit ass place. That and they literally had a Chernobyl there like a couple of months ago, and everybody forgot about it.
Yeah,
Like
hashtag
literal
only Ohio.
Chernobyl or no?
Quite literally, the entire railway union went on strike. Biden broke up the strike because they were striking because of failed safety regulations that weren't put in place properly. Then what happened? A couple of rail cars carrying thousands of gallons of flammable toxic chemicals spilled onto the railway, and some fuck shit from the EPA lit it on fire and polluted quite literally hundreds of square miles of land.
Yeah, East
Holy
Palestine.
crap, I felt like literally like freaking atomic bombs.
No, we did it with,
Chemical
carcinogens because we're
Yeah,
Americans.
You had animals jumping out of the sky dead. You had all the wildlife in the area just fell over dead.
You had fish
And-
floating down the river. It was terrible.
Yeah, and did the federal government do anything about it? Everyone there got $600 in federal relief, and that was it.
Yeah, like fucking...
Yeah.
Quite literally, I had some family that lived around in West Virginia that way, and quite literally, as soon as they saw that, they packed up and headed out to visit us. They weren't going to be around for that. And then it started fucking raining over here like 2 days later when I was at college. And I'm like, if I get cancer from this rain, I'm going to kill somebody.
Gonna bring a whole new meaning to acid rain.
Yeah. The Acid
crap.
Rain 2, the sequel from
Yeah,
Acid
this time
Rain.
it's personal.
Yep. Kyle, I think our government's trying to kill us.
Oh, you don't fucking say.
Well, I have a few years before that, so I'm
Yeah,
good.
yeah, a few years. Didn't something,
Yeah.
didn't something similar with this happen with the River Oder?
Wait,
Something similar to
Wh-
that?
What?
Yeah,
The f-
the river it's spelled Oder. But wasn't there like a big like pollution issue that happened with there last year?
Holy fuck! I don't know. Maybe.
Because I remember seeing something about like a factory having a chemical spill that got in the water and it killed a shit
Wait,
ton of fish.
wait a minute. I think you mean Odra, but you can't
Odra,
pronounce
yeah.
it because you're American.
Oh right.
It's okay. This is the motherfucker that pronounced Glasgow as Glasgow.
Don't
What?
spell
What?
it that way if it's not pronounced that way.
It's fucking Gaelic.
You spell it
You absolute plod. It's
Glazgo.
Gaelic. It's Glasgow.
See, and
Even
who
I
lost the
know
war,
that,
Fiona?
and I don't speak Gaelic.
Thank you.
You go around and like, excuse me, sir. Like when you show up, ma'am, what is this like? Town or something? Oh, it's a Glasgow, something. Blah, blah, blah. And they have this accent.
Fuckers have sided against me.
Of course we are.
And one more thing happens in terms of Appalachian history in the book. Dwight D. Eisenhower becomes president and built all the roads.
Oh,
It's
look,
wonderful.
Weaver shit all over the goddamn place.
And now the Weaver has its clutches firmly wrapped around the mountains. And wherever the Weaver goes,
fuck.
the Worm is right behind it, thus resulting in every plot you have in terms of Rage Across Appalachia.
Oh, sick.
Let's
Well,
go.
my game takes place in 1998, so we get an awesome soundtrack.
And Goldman Sachs builds all the roads, and it's fantastic. And
Yep.
you bought $20,000 into Goldman Sachs stocks, and when all the roads are built, you're going to sell that stock and then finally become the millionaire that you always wanted to be.
I don't want to be a millionaire. I just want to be rich.
Let's talk about demographics.
Yes.
So, I remember I had a conversation with. It wasn't the host of Rage Across the Internet, but it was some of the people within the server. And this was the same conversation that led to me forming the Summon Vian with 3.5, where I was talking with two people about Rage Across Appalachia, because I tried to run a game in that server with the people there, because, this was the only place I knew of at the time that I could talk about werewolf stuff. I did not know how fucking bad the people of that server were as players. That was a mistake starting that game. But I had a conversation with them because that game took place in Appalachia. I was running that setting. And one of them, I remember the screen name too. It was the non-binary flag, and they were talking to me saying, Grant Kaysen, who was the kiss up to that server, who insists that he's this mastermind behind Savage Age Werewolf. You wrote one book, and that was considered to be a fan project for Savage Age. Said that he thinks Rage Across Appalachia was racist because it didn't have enough Native Americans in it. And dog, we just went over about the fucking genocide that happened there, but you don't go to Appalachia expecting it to be magical Native American land. Kyle, me and you both live around this area. We know what's here.
I've been through it multiple times. It is mostly just rednecks. It is mostly, if not entirely, rednecks.
It's not the land you fucking think it is. So many people. This is MAGA country that you go into.
It is a bunch of alcoholic, laid-off farmers or New Age college kids going to West Virginia University.
Yeah, you pretty much play. You play try that in a small town. And that really is this area. I mean, granted, there is not the community that you think there is.
Let me put it to perspective. Last time I went to go visit my great uncle before he passed, God rest him, I went down to the bar literally down the street from his house, and it was a dive. Literal meth head walks in, slams his hands on the table, says something incomprehensible, stumbles the fuck out, walks down the road. That is the kind of fucking territory we're at, bro.
And you want us to talk about, the poor Native Americans that aren't getting representation within Rage Across Appalachia. first of all, you've got 3 different named Octena characters in here, and a Wendigo, where, funny enough, there's no Nuisha in this book. So, no, you have fucking representation in here.
Not to mention the Nunehi as well.
Yep. The same person wanted to complain about all the bonars in the book. Dog, can we have like some fucking sympathy for the people that live in West Virginia and East Kentucky that are living in the worst fucking poverty you can imagine?
Driving through that, I've never seen so many ramshackle places in my life. Like, those people are poor, bro.
It feels like you're going into like regions of South America and Africa, the remote parts.
I think Johnny said in the server at some point, it's like, y'all ever watch Deliverance? Yeah.
That's exactly it, where you've got the guy in the golf cart that comes up to you and says, "Where you going, city boy?" And then the minute he says that to you, you turn around and you run away.
Yes. Although the majority of the people I've met in West Virginia, because my family's, my dad's side of the family's from West Virginia, fairly nice people. Like, if you get on their good side and you got family around the way, everybody will be kind to you. But if you're like from out of town, nah, they'll look at you.
They really don't like Yankees, so to speak. Just anybody from up north. You've got a way of life that does not gel with them. And if you stand blue instead of red, do not let them know how you really feel.
No. They're going to have some opinions because, bear in mind, it was blue that got rid of all of their jobs and turned their communities into shitholes.
It took our gerbs.
I mean, they kind of did. All of it went to China in the 90s.
It really is that fucking South Park episode.
It really is. And it's sad because you drive past all these factories that were there, and like my great uncle used to talk about them. It's like, I knew some fellas that worked down there at that steel mill back in the 70s when it was up and running. And they would tell me stories about all the times, like my another one of my great uncles who I think passed away back in 2015, God rest him, was I think he was police chief of Fairmont, West Virginia. And I visited Fairmont numerous times. I actually really like the place. Despite the fact there isn't a whole lot to do there, it's family heritage, really.
On
and
top
he
of that,
tells
go over
stories
there
about all of them.
For the most part, the air's clean. And everything around there is nice, and you can have a nice time there. But if you go into this thinking this is going to be the Croton or the Actina setting, you are dead wrong. You don't go into this book with this expectation.
No. This is part of the reason I wanted to run this module, because I've been there multiple times. I've been through there multiple times. So yeah, I'll have whenever, every now and again, my grandma would want to go back there and visit, because I had a lot of family that lived out there. So I've been there a lot.
Same thing with the games I run, because I only ever run games in World of Darkness that are about cities that I visited. Las Vegas being the exception, because I didn't go there. My mom did. And told me about what was there.
I have been to Las Vegas multiple times, so
yeah, and you were a good point of reference.
I'm here to help.
And of course, Sean had any and all questions I had about New York. Let's talk about the cairns that are there. We have many cairns. Let's go over 3 of them. We have time for 3.
Yes, we've got a lot of different fucking cairns that exist around here. Do you want me to go ahead and list them all out real quick, just to?
Yeah, give us the whole list, and all of these have articles on the Werewolf wiki. They're all incomplete because Werewolf is very sparse in terms of wiki information.
Well, I have the septs more than I have the cairns, but the sept of the changing seasons, there's the sept of the grandfather, the, where's that?
Take a wild guess as to where sept of the grandfather is.
Yes, sept of the moon's blessing, sept of the mountain watch, and there's the sept of the 7 clans, and I think the last one is... Actually, no, I think that's it.
Sept of the 7 churches of Asia.
Not quite. So 7 seasons, grandfather, moon's blessing, mountain watch, and 7 clans. If you are looking for a Native American Croatan sort of playthrough, Sept of the 7 clans is probably close to where you want to be.
Yeah, well, guess who the 7 clans are?
They are 7 different. It is actually, from what I read in the book, it is split up into 7 different positions in order to honor a number of different sub-tribes of the Cherokee: the bird, paint, deer, wolf, blue, long hair, and wild potato. In this cairn,
since we're already,
what's up?
Since we're already talking about, should we just keep going with this and have this be 1 to 3?
Yes.
Yeah.
This sept is particularly unique because there are actually 2 sept leaders, one that rules in times of war and one that rules in times of peace. The peace leader will also hold the honorary position of the Master of Secrets, and there's a handful of characters that inhabit this. The sept leader is a Uktena separatist by the name of Stands His Ground from the Wolf clan.
And there he is in the background of that picture.
Yes, he is considered the sept leader. Let me pull him up there so everybody can see.
Yeah, that's a big man.
Yes, he is fucking scary looking.
He's a nice guy. You don't know.
Yes. So as you can see in the book, it's a closed clan, as you can see. In certain times, visitors are allowed to enter. It's in the boundaries of a reservation, the community of Big Cove, and they try their best to hold on to their tribal ways and avoid assimilation. They protected mostly by the mountainous terrain around them, and they try to preserve as many of their old traditions as possible, as we've said. So typically the Cairn includes the entire reservation, but only a few members of the sept are willing to travel as far as the town of Cherokee and try to approach the massive assault of tourism that comprises the area. Most of the Uktena hate the shit out of all of it, but the younger Uktena realize that the best hope for survival rests with the economic dependence provided by the tourists that come to the region. Although the heart of the Cairn lies near a small spring that branches off the Raven's Fork. Here, the water spirit of Uktena gives council members of the sept and occasionally imparts the secrets and tantalizing hints of forgotten lore. So if you are planning on running a Native American campaign, like I said, this would be a good place to start your quest. Especially if you have a water-based totem.
Mm-hmm. Like dolphin?
Yes. I don't think there are very many dolphins in Appalachia.
You gotta go all the way south to Alabama to find that.
Yes.
Yes.
I've never been to Alabama, though. My parents have. They say it's very nice.
It does have some pretty scenery to it.
Especially around the Gulf, but that's a bit far from the mountains.
Whatever you do not talk to them about football. Don't say anything about that.
No.
Yeah,
When you say football, you mean American, right?
American football,
yes. The American football. You got the football hooligans of Scotland. Turns out America has a version of that too.
Wow. Well, not only Scotland, mate.
I met you like Liverpool. Oh, fuck you, cunt. You like Liverpool. I'll kick your ass.
Who's a North FC fan? He's based off the Yorkshire Moorhammer 40k.
Yeah. Question. With weapons or not? That's the only question when there's our hooligans. Weapons allowed or not? That's the simple question. Because they can fight.
Everyone's got a gun.
It reminds me of that headline of family stunned after British man kills seagull for trying to eat his chips. The man was quoted saying, "Shouldn't have tried to pinch me chip."
And now he has a bird for that chips.
Yes.
All right.
One of the other ones that I wanted to talk about specifically was Sept of the Mountain Watch, and we'll talk about this guy more later. Rory Hartley is a Glasswalker Arun. He's a very, very interesting individual, and like I said, we'll talk about it later. He leads the Sept of the Mountain Watch. He's a very well-respected member of the community of Chattanooga. But the interesting thing is there is hinted in the book some intercept conflicts within the Sept of the Mountain Watch. This is primarily a Glasswalker run Cairn. However, there's also Sylvie Webb, who is the Glasswalker Philodox of the Sept Warder. Her job, given the controversial positions of Roy Hartley, is to keep the disagreements with him on a purely philosophical level, because Garrow get hot-headed about these things. And then there is also the Keeper of the Land, a Bonar Metis known as Payback. Basically, he makes sure that nobody fucks with the land around it. Another interesting lore character, Liesel, Eyes of the Raven and Knower of Secrets. That name is a mouthful. She's a Get Ephemeris Lupus. I might cover her more a little bit later, because her backstory is kind of interesting. She's the Master of the Right. Your gatekeeper, Malcolm MacDonald, Fianna Theurge, not a whole lot about him. But then the other interesting part of the Cairn is Stephen Back to the Land, who's a Glasswalker Ragabash. He's the master of the challenge, but also one of Hartley's greatest critics. To summarize, before I get into the deep details of Roy Hartley, Hartley has been trying desperately in order to unite two different clans in vastly different territories. As I said, Sept of the Mountain Watch is located just outside of Chattanooga, but he has been in constant communication with another Glasswalker Sept located in Knoxville, Tennessee. He believes that by unifying that front, he can create a stronger southern border along the leeches firmly entrenched within Chattanooga and Knoxville, which will be a part of the game at some point.
Speaking of those leeches, there was a bit of history in here. I left it out because I didn't think we'd be talking about vampires, but I guess we're talking about vampires now. The Camarilla have a vested interest in Appalachia, and that's because there is a massive headquarters of Sabbat in Atlanta. Given what a shithole Atlanta is, that doesn't surprise me. But the plan is that the Sabbat will use the cover of the Appalachian Mountains to snake their way through them all the way up to New York and Pittsburgh and Philadelphia and all the other strong Camarilla cities to cause havoc. And it's perfect. That's a perfect way to snake around defenses. So what the Camarilla will do is that they'll find a city like, say, Asheville, for example, and they'll plant one vampire there, and that's a prince of one, of a kingdom of one. And his job is to just hold the line, stay there, just in case you spot a Sabbat, immediately blow the horn. We'll send all of our soldiers there to back you up.
For one Sabbat?
That's what they do. Yeah. For one Sabbat, because if there's one, if it's a Zamichi, he's got the Vizant with him. If it's a La Sombra, he's got the demons of hell with him within the shadows. So, yeah, it's raise hell the minute you see the Sabbat.
Good lord.
Yeah.
This is why I wanted to do this episode, is because now I've got so many more ideas of how to spice up this campaign.
Well, there we go. And well, I guess Rapper, to get a little sneak peek as to stuff that might happen in the game.
Yeah.
You find this out before anyone else does.
I would also watch the video, so anyway.
Yes.
They have exclusive live.
You've read the book, so there's not much I can throw at you that'll surprise you.
I only had like 5 pages.
I sent him the Nuninhi pages, so it's not overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you sent him like the whole ass book and he read it.
No. Yeah, like 3 days and I freaking read millions of pages. No.
You work harder than me, my guy.
Bro, I'm truly Iron Mind and Red Talon Mind. That's fine.
Wolves don't have written history.
Can you tell me about the thing? Here's the thing.
What thing?
There it is.
What's the thing?
That's our average exchange of information between Red Talons.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, they don't bullshit you.
No, they don't.
That's the joke. We don't use paper. We use mouse.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because paper is made of trees that hurt in Gaia. So fuck you.
They have very large brains.
Yep. The other two septs I can think of, there isn't a whole lot incredibly interesting about them. They're just pretty standard septs as far to my knowledge. I mean, you've got...
Do the Sept of the Grandfather, because we've got a unique totem with that one.
Yeah, so Sept of the Grandfather, I didn't take a whole lot of notes. I took more notes on like the people within it. It's primarily a Fianna run. A Fianna run Sept. It's mainly built for built for hospitality, just to keep people comfortable on the road. Whereas, something like Sept of the Moon's Blessing, I think was a Gnosis Cairn. Interesting note about this is that in the book it labels what sort of sept each of them were, whether they were more for hospitality, for staging, for gnosis, for rites. I found that kind of interesting. But Sept of the Grandfather is a hospitality one that allows Garrow a place to rest when traveling through the mountains. The leader of this sept is Birdley Kate Davis, sister of the Winds, who's a Fianna Philodox. The sept leader recently taken over the position from Dougal Mountain Speaker, who was a Fianna Theurge, and he served in the position as sept leader for the longest time, but with his age decided to step down and take the position of sept warder. And I will talk about this character later because I actually really love his concept. Was Reuben Earth Defender Bruckner, who is a Get Ephemeris Arun, who's the guardian of the sept. I heard that from Johnny. He knows who the hell I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Leia Hopebringer was a child of Gaia Galliard. I didn't notice anything too outstanding about her. She's very typical, we must teach...
Gaia for you.
What?
That's the typical child of Gaia for you.
Yeah, it's we will teach the humans peace and love and everything will be cool and shit. No, it fucking
peace
won't.
And love, hugging ass X and O.
She is keeper of the land of this Cairn, and then you have Standing Rock, the Uktena Theurge, who's a gatekeeper. Despite all we've said about the battles between Fianna, Get Ephemeris, and Uktena, they always seem to come together at the septs in this book, which I think is actually kind of neat in terms of the lore, how they've all realized, okay, shit's going down, we need to put aside our differences and make shit happen.
Around here we take care of our own.
Yes. And of course, you also have Carson Sandler, who's a Silverfang Galliard, master of the Rite, and Lodi Clawfoot, a Bonar Ragabash Metis, who is master of the Challenge.
And there's a picture of Grandfather Mountain for you in studio notes.
Yes.
Oh, that peak is 1 mile above seafloor.
Good. I've never been there. Where is that actually?
Wait a minute.
That is in North Carolina in the Appalachian Mountains.
Shit, I should come down there and visit. That looks beautiful.
Yeah. I have hiked that mountain twice in my life.
Yeah, I think you said it's absolutely gorgeous up there.
Yeah, you go up there too. And speaking of other mountains, if you want to talk about preservation, you have Crowder's Mountain, which isn't that far away. Say type in Crowder's Mountain. Let me see if I can get you a good picture of this place. It's not that much of a mountain. I think it's called a caldera. It's just small enough to not be considered a mountain. Yeah. There's a picture. It's a little bit off in the distance. You want to talk about the weak slaw going into effect? This is part of it because that mountain was going to get bulldozed in order to get all these different rocks in there, all these different minerals that were going to be used for conducting electricity. But thanks to a massive environmental group banding together and lobbying, that became a state park. So, boom, there's your werewolves at work.
Yeah, there you go. Child of Gaia actually doing something fucking right for a change.
Yeah,
Appalachia glasswalkers and children of Gaia good? What the fuck?
Yeah, I know. That's part of the reason I also like this module, is because the Garrow actually seem to be doing shit that works.
Yeah, this is...
Yeah, but after they fuck up. So, yeah.
you fuck up for years, and then you finally realize just how bad the situation is, and then you band together. So, this is a good book because it gives a hope spot in it. Because things could change, and maybe the apocalypse could be prevented if the rest of the world was following this kind of progress. Granted, you're not going to see those issues change in your lifetime. It's probably going to take 200, 300 years for that to change, but you at least get the ball rolling. And that's something. And
Solar Punk Future when?
I've been to that mountaintop before. I found 2 guys that had an entire briefcase filled with marijuana, and they were smoking it on top of the mountain.
That's kind of fucking based.
Yeah,
I hate the smell of weed, but that's That's kind of tight.
Yeah, they saw me walking around them too, and they had the individual blunts and then the bongs and the hookah pipe, and they were just picking out which ones they wanted to do, and they were just smoking it. Turned around, saw me behind them, and then just turned right back around and went right back to smoking.
Yeah, that reminds me of one time, one of my best friends is an Eagle Scout, and he and a couple of his brothers, who are also Scouts, were leading a troop, I think somewhere in Montana. I think they were doing a hiking trip through the Rockies, and my buddy had like a couple of beers with him, and he took like a 6-pack and buried it in the mud next to the Colorado River, and waited about like a half hour for it to chill, and then got to drink beer by the Colorado River that was chilled from the water of the Colorado.
Oh, the water of the mountains are very good.
Yes.
Holy crap! I hiking. I'm walking up the mountains with my family. We prefer that over the beach, and I was, checking the the heights and the mountain you said, like Grandfather Mountain was. It's little higher, but I think I could work on it because it's like 6 meters from where I was. The height difference, so not that much, but yeah. So the view would be beautiful and the water would be cold and tasty.
Yeah, mountain water is like the source of it. It's as pure as it gets.
You get the Evian water, the alleged French mountain spring water.
Now you gotta go right to the mountain to get it.
Now you look at that bottle of water, and then you realize after flipping it around, it's the word naive spelled backwards. You think France is big enough to house all this water? You must be naive to think that.
Yes. I mean, it's France.
Now, I forgot why we were talking about Grandfather Mountain. It's because the totem of this place is unique. The mountain itself is the totem.
Really?
Here's your stats for it.
Let's see.
Background cost 7. The traits for this: each of Grandfather Thunder's Grandfather Mountain's children gain 3 dice to add in any combination to his or her social rolls once per story. If you think you're going to bomb a social check, you can add 3 dice to it with this guy. In addition, individual pack members can add 1 strength during any combat encounter which takes place on solid ground, upon, or inside the mountain. Each pack member gains 2 athletics involving climbing rock. The ban: Grandfather's children must never be too hasty in judging others by their race, social group, or other distinguishing factor, which you were already going to do, so the ban is that there is no ban.
I mean, depends on the tribe.
I don't know. Ends the road. How do you feel about that?
Snap their necks.
There you go. Okay, no, we can't have grandfather as our totem.
I'm just in the corner, smiling, grinning.
Other distinguishing factor. Oh, he walks on 2 legs and doesn't have fur. I'm going to rip his throat out.
I mean, depends. If he is Wendigo, no. Well, we tried.
That's like 3 of your other party members, though. You're gonna kill half the party before the game gets off the ground.
We could convince Meepian to make the first black woman within the Fenris to avoid the in-party fighting.
Oh, yeah. Good lord. That's some Glasswalker lobbying right there is what that is. Glasswalkers and Black Furies. doing inclusivity for the kid of Fenris. We are based on merit and merit alone. And you're saying that black women don't?
From the Glasswalkers to talk about diversity today.
Oh my good lord.
In the Valkyries, I think it could work. Like in Valkyries, it would be a hit. That's my opinion.
Yeah, you can go with that.
I think Meepian's already gone for a Valkyrie. No, he changed his mind. He's gone for a Fingergarm.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's
I
Nice.
think there's actually another Fang of Garm in the book, if I remember correctly. I don't remember which one, though. It's one of the Get Ephemeris.
Yeah, if he talks well in character, he might avoid being killed by me.
I mean, Meep's pretty good about that. And besides, you already know, as a Wendigo, you already know Get can throw, so...
Yeah.
You're probably going to
he
just
can
be, like,
sucker punch you.
seething at her the whole time, just like, this fucking bitch here. Meanwhile, she's gonna meet the Hounds in Fairmont, meet Arnie, and be like, yo!
We could do those videos like Miami Spring Break, where you have the women who are pulling their extensions off in the middle of their fights.
Oh my good lord.
Crap. Question. Sorry.
Yes.
We sidetracked it. What tribes are in the current party?
So right now we have Johnny, who is playing Wendigo, you who's playing Red Talon, Sean is playing a Summon Viam because he liked the 3.5 concept, and I'm excited to see what he does with it. Ryan is playing a Bonar, and Meep is playing Get Ephemeris.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there is 3 out of 5, so it's good. So it's more than 50%. As the Philodox, I can count, so it could be good.
There we go.
only Red Talon Philodox have the ability to count.
See,
I
I
mean
can
percentage.
I can count to
can
8 on my
count.
fingers.
Oh my god.
Let's talk about the. Let's bring up the Ninini.
That is 1 dead human, 2 dead humans, 86 dead humans. Anyway.
Nice. I have a plan. We can make them into into piles of 10 dead bodies, so we can count better. Okay, it's more efficient.
Right, Brad, tell us about the little people.
Yeah.
The
Little people. If you thought that only Uctena Croton and Wendigo was fucked up by European, you are wrong, because little people, the native changeling of America, were also fucked up by their European cousins.
The Kith.
The Kiv. Yes.
It kind of makes sense because the Kith are going to follow the dreams of the people that made them. And of course, it's European culture that made the Kith. So when the Europeans come to America, it only makes sense that they're going to bring the Kith with them, whether or not the Kith were thinking about coming over or not.
Yes.
And
when Kith were struggling with entering more like taking the power from the dreaming, when Nanenhi didn't, because the people of the region still believed in them, they still dream, generate glamour, the Kith were struggling.
Mm-hmm.
So, where there's struggle, there's conflict.
Hey, can we have
till
some
the year of... Sorry to interrupt.
Nah, it's all good.
Till the year of 1969, which was the landing on the moon, which opened temporarily the gateway to the dreaming, and the tree came up, which was even worse for Nanenhi, and the Kingdom of Willows was established, which is the name from the Kith that is the name of Appalachian to the Kith, the Kingdom of Willows.
Yes. And there's a bunch of lore in here too, where apparently the Shi were already staking this place out, and we're thinking, in the future we might need to check this place out and claim some freeholds for ourselves. And I watched Changing the Podcast's episode on Rage Across Appalachia. My comment on that, please do the episode all over again. It was one of their very, very early episodes, and they're super awkward the entire time. But you did okay. But
I feel like at some point we need to do a remaster for Black Spirals and Fiona.
Yeah, we could do that with a little bit more information.
Yep.
No, for
Let's-
Fianna, no. For Fianna, no.
We'll
There's no need.
combine the two into a single episode.
That might be good.
Yeah.
Or maybe if we do a White Howler's alt history.
Yeah, where we go back and forth between the two. Yeah, let's finish either the Farah series or the Setting series before we start that.
Yeah. Farah, I'm good with.
Right.
We'll do it after Farah. Anyway, so Nunenhi, back to it. Sorry.
Or is that it?
No, you
I think
were
that's it.
saying something bad. You were
Yeah. Yeah,
sidetracked
yeah.
by changing the podcast that he made the podcast, but he could remake it.
Yeah. I would like to see the episode done again, but you've got some complications too, because the same issues that happened with the werewolves also happened with the Nunenhi and the Kith, where the Kith also participated in taking freeholds that used to belong to the Nunenhi after they were chased out by the Fomori and the Kith, and when asked if they could have it back, they said, "Ooh, sorry, finders keepers, losers weepers. Sorry about that, bro." And pretty much history repeats itself. And the Nunenhi in the Setting are super tight with the Uktena. They're super tight with the Uktena. The Uktena pretty much consider them to be kinfolk, but you can't make a kid with the Nunenhi reliably, because that kid is going to be vying for, is it going to reincarnate with the changing seed and we're going to have a soul of an ancestor put in it, or is it going to come out as a Nunenhi with a face spirit in it? You're rolling the dice with the two, and this is the exact same way the Fianna fell out with the Unseelie Court, because the Unseelie Court were claiming their kinfolk, using the exact same breeding process, and you might want to keep the two separated, because we've already gone through this with the Fianna. We don't need this happening with the Uktena.
Yeah, and with Dino Ninhi and the Dream Speakers and the Uktana, you can have just simple. That is your campaign. You can have a tree. It would be wild, but it would be also fun.
Oh yeah, you just said Dream Speakers. There is a decent Dream Speaker presence within Appalachia, or there used to be.
Like, I read about that slightly.
It's you had, of course, the wizards, and of course we know what the Dream Speaker mage is. It's the shaman with the body paint and the tribal shirt, who's around the campfire throwing sand in it to summon spirits to cast magic. They are the masters of the spirit sphere, meaning they can step sideways, just like a werewolf can. And it just gets easier and easier to do so until they can make a permanent hole through the gauntlet that they can just jump through at any point. Fantastic, right?
Yeah.
The minute you find a Dream Speaker, you understand why the Uktena just claim the Dream Speakers whenever they see them. Because with a power that strong, and the Umbra being that important to both the mage and the wolf, you see why the two pull resources.
Well, yeah, especially with how strong the Uktena are now. That'd be spectacular to have with them.
Yeah. And that's the little secret for the ultra gifts.
It is.
And ultra rights.
And where you get the super right, where you combine the mage and the werewolf, and they do a little right, and then something fucking crazy happens.
You have changing seed and the avatar.
Behold, now you've mixed splats in a way that no storyteller in his right mind would be willing to run.
Well, I mean, there is Grimm and Freya. Who knows what the hell that would be?
This is why I'm not teaching Grimm anything about the fucking avatars until the last session.
Right.
Because if we've got Grimm who's rewinding time, and now we have to keep track of not only arret but quintessence, then there's not enough space on the sheet to keep track of all this.
Well, that
question:
I don't know,
did Ghetto Fenris get sex ed or no?
Yes.
That was not the question I was expecting. See, with Fianna and Children of Gaia, that's a given. With the Get Ephemeris, not really.
There are no Get Ephemeris available for the Virgin Sacrifice.
Well, no, because they were already too busy having gay sex with each other.
Yes.
Whoa. homosexual. You don't have to say it like that.
More like the gay ephemeris, am I right?
Well,
We will
Reach.
continue to make fun of the Get Ephemeris for their machismo homosexuality because it is funny.
we can laugh about Fianna being wusses and gay offenders. So yeah.
Yeah, there we go. I mean, as a
And
Fianna,
when
you
they go
can't
out
say
safe.
much. You've seen me
Yeah.
play Tyler.
There's going to be a gay ephemeris NPC who's hanging around a pilot truck stop with his arms crossed, and the minute one of us say we want to do the hot shower at the pilot truck stop, this guy's going to step sideways into the shower with us.
Holy crap.
Oh, that's funny. Holy shit.
The friend is
And-
coming up to us. I'm digging your vibe. So you want to do it?
You got a pretty mouth.
It's going to be fucking sea bass from Dumb and Dumber.
Oh my good lord. The unwritten
It's just-
rule of the road.
To get offended is like talking to each other like, yeah, I could take him, and the other one in a fight, right? In a fight, right?
Oh,
Oh,
dude. I'm getting a little flustered. Let's talk about some rates.
yeah, I didn't do a whole lot of research on the Wraiths. I know what page
So
some
we
of
have
them are on.
Stygia,
Hmm.
thanks to the act of colonization, America used to have its own underworld. Not anymore. It's part of Stygia now. Yeah, thanks to colonization, there is some deadlands that are unique to America, but very, very few people go there. I mean, only 5 to 10% of people who die become wraiths. That's going to be a teeny tiny population because you're going off of a 2% of America, and then 5% of that 2% will go to that region. That's not a lot.
No.
But
Yeah.
as part of Stygia, you have the same issues with Stygia in Europe as you do in America. You've got the Grim Legion, you've got the Silent Legion, you've got the Penitent Legion all running around here. And they have a few freeholds here or there, well, they're not freeholds, a few underworlds for themselves, sitting for you and waiting for you in Appalachia. There is I remember what it's called. I think it's called the Haunts book for Wraith. And it brings up that there is a massive underworld within Atlanta. Now, don't think for a second that, don't doubt that Wraiths won't be drifting from that mansion in Atlanta all the way up to the Appalachians, because the underworld itself is this massive mansion that burnt down very much like Gone with the Wind. And it's filled with all these different nobles from the South that remember what living in the America around the time of the Civil War was like. And everyone who dies and around the South ends up going through that mansion at some point. Because, the Tempest is everywhere. The shadows are everywhere. The Oblivion is chasing after you. You've got to find some place to lay your burdens down as a Wraith. And if you want to survive a game of Wraith the Oblivion, you have to go through that house at some point.
So that's like a dungeon crawl for a Wraith campaign.
Exactly. You remember the Death House, right?
Yeah, given that I'm playing Strahd and also this roguelike shooter game Ocho, that honestly would be kind of fucking tight.
Mm.
Survivor horror, freaking graves.
Yes.
Just some poor Cherokee, and there's like some kind of the guy not what was the opposite of Union? So
The Confederate.
yeah,
Yeah.
the Confederate. So,
Yeah.
so got a Confederate all ghost just chasing you. I'm gonna get
Confederate
you, boy.
silent Confederate. It's be like Confederate Alan Wake, I guess.
Silent Hill in a way too. So
Yeah.
much of Wraith the Oblivion. Like, this came out before Silent Hill, and they share so many similarities. Crazy.
I don't know. That is kind of neat though.
Yeah, you gotta know somebody really well if you're going to run Wraith the Oblivion.
Yeah, because the other name for that RPG is Depression, the TTRPG. It's a
It
witch hunt.
really is.
It's like playing This War of Mine, but everybody's already dead.
Mhm. And there is a section for rates in Johnson City, Tennessee, where the Umbra and the Shroud are very thin. The rates have taken notice of this and will dig their way through the Umbra, through the Gauntlet, and end up in the Skinlands, the land of the living, and will wander around this area. If you are a Silent Strider, do not venture into this area. You will not leave alone.
I mean, it's impossible for them to leave alone anywhere they go.
And lastly, you've got the Hellholes, places of power for the Black Spirals and the Forces of the Worm, which are Harlan County, Kentucky, which is a polluted, destitute shithole. Pigeon River, which is just as polluted, and Oak Ridge, Tennessee, a site used for testing for the Manhattan Project.
Oh,
You seen Oppenheimer?
crap.
Me and you watched Oppenheimer. We saw it sweep the Oscars.
I mean, I actually really liked Oppenheimer, so
There's a reason why it won all the awards.
yes.
Yeah.
Like I said,
I mean,
I'm a
there's-
sucker for political dramas, but yes, there are
You're
Black
suck-
Spiral Dancers
suck for
comprise a
Christopher
lot of this campaign.
Yeah, and there was not many competition.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
there
In
was
my
Barbie.
perspective. No, Barbie. Barbie was the. It was the second, right?
Yeah, you're up against
know the
Maestro
Oppenheimer was
Flaming
like-
Hot Cheetos.
What?
What?
The Flaming Hot Cheetos movie got an Oscar nomination.
What the freak is that?
It's
That's
exactly what
some-
you think it is.
What? We
It's-
in this. Oh, do you remember? I don't know if you remember when I showed you the trailer for the movie Peasants.
Yes.
That didn't get nominated.
Nope. But the Flaming Hot Cheetos movie gets one.
Exactly. So middle finger to the Hollywood because that movie was amazing.
When I watch the Oscars, I don't even see the Oscars anymore. I just see Epstein's client list.
Yeah. I mean, The Peasant was such a good movie.
I do
It
need
was,
to watch it now.
Yeah. It is animated, but animated. Imagine every frame of the movie is like painted.
Oh, okay. So it's like
and it's like Van
it's-
Gogh.
it's like
Imagine
the,
Van Gogh, but in it's the story of the book of the same name, The Peasants.
right.
That won, I think, the Nobel Prize. Yeah, Nobel Prize for literature.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I gotta fucking watch that.
That's-
But
So,
I imagine that
let's
art
talk
school's
about-
kind of like the Duel from Halo Legends. Anyway, sorry, I got us off topic again.
Let's talk about we're having fun. We're having fun with this. Let's talk about lore characters. Give
Okay.
me your 5 favorite lore characters.
So there was a couple in this book that I actually really liked, and I've got their profiles up. The first one I want to talk about is we were just talking about the Black Spirals because they are an integral part of this campaign. We have Armageddon Rido. He is a Bonar Hamid Arun. His nature is a fanatic. He's fanatically devoted to defeating the Black Spirals for reasons we will talk about later, but carries the demeanor of a lone wolf. He doesn't like to work with others.
Now, before you continue, this fucking guy's portrait, I see a man who looks like this on the street every day.
Does he carry a
I
shotgun
mean-
and a jar of moonshine?
He's probably got in his truck bed.
Based?
Bro, that's just good camouflage.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, you look like. So this is a guy who's camouflaged. He looks like every man that lives in the South.
Yeah,
Exactly.
buddy. My name's Armageddon Rider. Yeah, so
That's the video game. I like to play them video games.
And bonus are survivors, and the first thing you have to survive the South is a gun and moonshine.
oh yeah, buddy. That's part of the reason. Like I couldn't help myself. Like he's the most quintessentially West Virginian human being I've ever seen in this book, and that's why I had to pick him. So a little bit about this guy. He's a very down-to-earth guy, born in a large family of Bonar kinfolk. Lived a real simple life, secluded in the Kentucky hills not far from the Cumberland Gap. They thrive without most of the comforts of modern life, dodging truant officers, avoiding chores, keeping watch for revenuers or government men, and roaming around the woods, just having themselves a good old time. And as he got older, he got involved in the family business of shining, and he was taught to stay clear of a group known as the Bledson family, who lived in the next cove over. And they would occasionally have their family visit from the other side of the hill for a potluck and stories and sampling batches. And Rydell would often overhear stories or conversations about his family asking if the boy began to show any of the signs. One day, two of his uncles had come over from the other side of the hill, and with his parents' permission, took him deep into the woods and introduced him to his Garrow heritage. And for that time after, Armageddon would travel with a pack of Bonars and discovered the extensive network of kinfolk throughout the Kentucky hills. He learned very well of the enemies of Gaia that secreted themselves from the mountains. In addition to the Black Spirals, the whole families of Fomori made their homes deep in the woods. But the more that he learned about it, the more that he realized that the Fomori sounded a lot like the Bledson family that lived not too far from his home. And as much as he liked roaming the wild, he realized that his kin needed him more. And people were tentative to listen to him at first, being the newest ornate of their pack. But eventually Armageddon convinced them that they needed to go back and make sure his family was okay. And he'd had a few run-ins with worm creatures by that point, but before he'd gotten back, it was too late. His family was under attack by the Bledsons, and he found that while they'd killed a number of the Bledsons, his two youngest siblings, 8-year-old Ezekiel and 7-year-old Hepzibah, were both killed in the battle. Armageddon has never been far from his family since then. He keeps touch with his pack, but he knows that he can't leave his family at this point, knowing the danger that lurks just over the hill. And that's part of the for those of you who know, I've played Colt in a number of different campaigns, but I'm a sucker for family man characters. And that's one of the things I really liked about Rydell. Yeah, he's your average rough and tough, moonshiner, redneck, hill folk, but deep down, he's a family man who cares about his family and where his seeds were sown. And that's what really drew me.
I just want to make you laugh and cry because I'm a family guy.
I mean, Armageddon is that's the blueprint for Bonar, and it's the blueprint made good.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And also, Rapid, given your story and given Ends the Road story, if you hate Black Spirals, you're a friend of his. So he's going to be, if you head down south, you're going to make yourself a very comfy ally.
And we have a Bonar in our pack, technically.
Who's also a shiner who, he'd probably know Ryan's character ahead of time, just as they gather to confer arts and crafts.
See, just double checking, we're still recording, right?
Yes, we are still in the recording.
All right, gotcha. All right, just making sure nothing fucked up happens. All right. So yeah, you take the pretty simple concept of the hill folk. I mean, it's very easy to come up with a hill folk idea, but most of them are going to sound the same. You take this character and you give it heart, and that's why Armageddon Rydell is a very good character.
Yep. He's a big guy with a big heart, and he'll kill the shit out of anybody that fucks with his family.
Yeah, we're not going into detail with the character more likely, but he's got a friend called Back Alley, who also looks like every southern man I've ever met in my life.
Yes. His lost keyring is one of his fetishes. He's just a thin, shaggy Bonar, one of the hoods. And basically, I think...
greasy hair, patchy beard. So, yes, every man I've ever met. And same thing with, well, Lodi Clawfoot doesn't look like any woman I've ever met in the South.
No, not really.
No, she's too pretty.
Yep. Well, there's some Southern belles out there. You got to give them Southern gals a chance, my guy. Okay.
Don't be too shallow. Okay.
Yep. I'm doing.
So you're telling me all you care about is looks? Yes.
Yep. So moving on from that, there were two other children of Gaia in the book that were notable characters, but I picked the one who, wasn't a typical child of Gaia, that being Haiti Thunderwife. She's the sept leader of Sept of the Moon's Blessing, as we've said before. A little bit of background on her. She was born as Haiti Jenkins to a mining family in Harlan County, Kentucky. She'd actually changed much earlier than other Garrow. Before she changed at the age of 10, as her family was constantly harassed by companymen and Pinkertons, and that was actually the situation that had caused her first change. She woke up one night to hear her mother screaming and her father getting the shit kicked out of him by Pinkertons, as his father was a union organizer for the mine he worked in. Haiti doesn't really remember what happened, nor does she claim to remember what happened, but she remembers there being a lot of blood, and her mother was later committed after believing that she had become an avenger of God to visit justice upon the Inquisitors. Haiti was then placed in a foster home until her mother's sanity could be assessed, quote unquote. She would later run away from the foster home and hid from the authorities for 3 days until she was found by a social worker, a child of Gaia known as Myron Delacroix. He'd seen Haiti's files and suspected already that she was Garrow. And when he found her, she was hungry and scared and determined to rescue her mother. But Myron took the child of the Sept of the Moon's Blessing and was later to get Haiti's mother, who sadly her mind was permanently unhinged, transferred to a more comfortable and more caring sanitarium. And he'd also managed to conceal her identity, listing Haiti Jenkins as a permanently missing person, and thus giving her the name Haiti Thunderwife. Since then, she struggled to control her temper and her but tries to use her rage in useful ways, visiting punishment on those who spoil the land and attempt to grind others under their heels. She's presented her with plenty of opportunities to become Gaia's avenging angel. 10 years prior to the writing of the book, she took over the leadership of the Sept of the Moon's Blessing when its former Sept leader had died in a battle with the Worm. Since then, she used her formidable size and forceful personality to inspire the members of the Sept to take up greater interest in social affairs, as children of Gaia do. In the Garrow of Knoxville in general, and Glasswalker Megan Alexander, she's important later when we talk about Roy Hartley, inspired by her, she actually doesn't like her because Megan Alexander, being a Glasswalker, misplaced their priorities by involving themselves in the Weaver. She despises the degradation of the human spirit that prevails, the economic victims of King Cole, almost as much as she hates what's been done to the beauty of the land in the name of profit and greed. She is very clearly a patient deed child of Gaia.
Yes, she doesn't fuck
Black
around.
unicorn.
Yeah. You know who she reminds me of? Did either of you play Red Dead Redemption 2?
I have it. I haven't fired it up yet.
Only like
Susan Grimshaw.
Introductionary.
Yeah. Where out of all the women you talk to, Sadie is of course the one that everybody wants to cling to when it comes to Red Dead Redemption 2. And she's an awesome character, but Susan Grimshaw was the one I gravitated towards. And Haiti in this feels like a lot of different Southern women I've met in my life. She feels like a ton of people that I knew at my church, that I've known at different places I've worked at, where the older you get, the more stones, so to speak, a woman forms. And when you get into your 50s or your late 40s, you're done fucking around. You're trying to settle down. You're trying to keep your head down. And anything that threatens you, you're going to take that threat on.
Yes.
But Susan Grimshaw, such a fantastic character because she was the camp mom in Red Dead Redemption 2, and as Schrader has exposed herself in the camp, she comes up with a shotgun, shoots her in the head mid confession, and then says, "All right, she confessed. Everybody back to work."
Oh, I love that. Good shit.
Yes, I automatically like Katie as a character because I have met women exactly like this, and I got along great with them. So yeah, if Haiti did appear in your game, I'm not saying she has to, but I would be excited to see what you would do with her.
Yes. I don't know if we'll get to Moon's Blessing or not. Like I said, it depends on where you guys decide to go in the game.
Gotcha.
So as far as the Fianna go, I'm going to skip the Fianna, but I just want to glance over. A lot of what the Fianna do in Appalachia is mostly singer-songwriters carrying over their Celtic heritage and applying it to the country stylings and the music of the region, which will probably what's up?
To the massive surprise of everybody, we have a black Fianna member.
Yeah. Let me see real quick.
Yeah, Patrick Shinnon.
Patrick Shinnon? I forgot. Where is my page on that? I've only had the pages open of the ones I was covering.
He's page 74. I can copy this for you.
I'd under-domestiate it.
Yeah. His name isn't McDougal. Yeah, here he is. This is his portrait.
Oh yeah. Dougal Mountain.
Yeah, exactly what I was fucking saying with the Fianna and the Gav Fenris. You don't have to be from those cultures. You just need to marry into the Fianna or be badass enough for the Gav Fenris.
Yep. That's all you gotta
Fuck
do
you.
is be badass.
You took the DNA test, you have 1% Irish, you can be a Fianna.
I think we said in the Fianna book, you don't necessarily have to be Irish to be in the Fianna.
Yeah, because I had the French.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, because of French, yeah.
And even English, God help them.
Yeah.
Moving on.
I'm surprised you didn't gravitate towards Dooley either.
I glanced over it, but let's see what else.
A little too easy.
Yeah, here's one of the ones I really wanted to talk about. This is one of the Get Ephemeris, Reuben Earth Defender Bruckner, who we talked about during Sept of the Grandfather, who is the Guardian leader. He is a Get Ephemeris Hamid Arun, and much like Meep's character is Fangs of Garm. So the two will likely get along over that, should you happen to cross him. He's a tall, blonde man in his mid-20s, very carefully groomed, very stylish, and in his kindest form, he's rather foreboding and awe-inspiring rather than outright bloodthirsty. The reason I find his character so interesting is Reuben was raised a devout Quaker. He's a warrior by nature in his blood, but his primary impulse is always to protect and defend. He grew up around Quakers his entire life.
I see he's from Pennsylvania.
Yes, he is from Pennsylvania. Yeah. And there are artifacts of Quaker speech in where he is. Although the book says he's from, I think, Asheville, Tennessee. Let me see.
I find that a little hard to believe, but all right.
Oh, yeah. Reuben grew up in a small community not far from Asheville. I might be thinking of a different Asheville, because it doesn't say where, it just says Asheville. So it's probably like Asheville, Pennsylvania.
That's North Carolina. North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
There's no fucking Quakers here. You're from Pennsylvania, you bullshitter.
Oh, well, no, his family arrived in Pennsylvania in the 1700s. That's why.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah,
there it
okay.
is.
The Bruckners moved to western North Carolina in the early 1900s and have farmed a small valley ever since. There we go. Sorry for the confusion. So yeah, he's...
I was going to say, there's no Quakers down here.
Well, yeah, but he was still raised with the Quaker faith instilled in him. And Reuben's change came later than most others. He was nearly 20 when his first change came, and he realized that he, with this new form, had great potential for violence, which really sort of frightened him. He was quickly brought to the attention of a local pack of ephemeris who attempted to instill in him the typical ephemeris warlike behavior. But Ruben's long years of self-control prevailed, and he learned to, and instead of going outright bloodthirsty like most get ephemeris do, he decided to adopt a far more measured and, a far more measured approach to combat. He made him a truly formidable opponent. He lacked the killer instinct and belligerence of his tribe mates, and instead replaced that with a calm, reserved demeanor and sort of honorable attitude when it comes to battle. When the position of chief guardian of the sept of the grandfather became vacant, Reuben was chosen by Dougal to fill the inheritable Cairn's empty post. His mild behavior had since served to improve the Get's public image in the eyes of other Garrow, believing that the bonds of friendship strengthen the sept's defensive capabilities, and Reuben has worked hard since then to establish close ties with many of his sept mates. His inability to overcome inexplicable animosity of Leah Hopebringer, though, troubles him, and fears that it may begin to sow seeds of dissent among the sept unless he can do otherwise. It's rare to see a Get Ephemeris in a protectorate role, which is why I love Reuben so much. He's a very just calm, collected, proper-spoken, properly groomed gentleman who just might be able to kick the ever-living shit out of you. But he won't do it.
Well, I'm a southern boy, and down south here, we do things a little bit differently than you big city folk do.
Yeah. He'd be the kind people are at each other's throats. He comes in, Now, gentlemen, there's no need to get in a tizzy about all of this. Thou'rt expected to conduct thyselves in a very calm, collected, and mature manner in my presence, lest things get unruly.
Imagining,
Mama raised a gentleman, not a bully.
Gentleman.
Exactly.
I'm imagining you probably have to smoke a few cigarettes before you talk as this guy, because I imagine he's got some rasp.
Yeah, Mama raised a gentleman, not a bully.
So yes, I love Reuben. He's a great fucking character.
The rare smart guy Fenris.
Yes, that's why I like him so much. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the fuck out of Grimm. I love the fuck out of Reynard. But this guy is just put together. He's got his shit together. He's disciplined. He's well-mannered. He's well-spoken. He's such an interesting way. He's just an interesting departure from the Get Ephemeris. That's why I like him so much.
Yep. You've also got his friend Lizzle.
Lizzle.
Who is, the bleeding edge of the Get Ephemeris. Yeah,
let me see if I can find her character sheet, because I have it up here somewhere. There it is. Liesel, Eyes of the Forest and Knower of Secrets. We said before, it's a mouthful. She's actually, I love how in her nature, she's a lupus theurge, master of the right, except to the mountain watch. I love in her nature and demeanor, it says pentient as nature and autist as demeanor. So, bit socially awkward, but ludicrously intelligent. Interesting note about her. She will rarely ever tell anybody about this. She shames herself because of it. She was on the private reserve of a wealthy breeder of endangered species, a quote-unquote southern gentleman who made his fortune providing exotic pets to those who could pay outrageous prices. She, as a wolf cub, was named Frisky at the time and was sold to a Chattanooga millionaire, a recluse who lived outside the city on a large estate. She only saw her master at night, but the master would give her warm milk mixed with blood. Turned out that this was Louis Pettigras, Chattanooga's Tremere elder. One night, some mortal huntress evaded the estate security system, accosted Pettigras with wooden stakes, scarlet crosses, and silver, and the arrogant Tremere avoided their stakes, ignored the other paraphernalia, and sicked his wolf ghoul on the attackers. Liesel's first wound from a silver dagger triggered her first change, and the hunters were history. Pettygrass didn't even think that he actually had a Garrow until that first change. But, he bloodbounded her since then and began a strange relationship between master and slave that haunts Liesel to this very day. Pettygrass began...
Yeah,
What's up?
Cutting the super long backstory short.
Yes. It is a long backstory,
is,
but it is incredibly interesting.
She's got a shitload of baggage on her, and just being enslaved to a Chimera is the start of it.
Yes. Let me put it to you this way. Her baggage would get her stopped by the TSA.
You've got all this shit to worry about, too. So we've got 3 very unique takes of the Geff Fenris in here. We've got your warrior, we've got your smart fighter, and then we've got your extreme 90s edge kind of fighter.
I don't know. In terms of 90s edge, this is probably some of the best I've read. This is just a truly terrifying fate for a lupus, nonetheless.
And it goes to show hard times makes hard people, right?
Absolutely, and Liesel is absolutely no exception. She is fucking tough as nails. Moving on from that, I wanted to glance over Liesel rather quickly. And moving on to the Glasswalkers, I really wanted to talk about this guy, Roy Hartley, who is the sept leader of Sept of the Mountain Watch. He is a Glasswalker Hamada Rune. He is an alpha and a director by nature and demeanor, respectively. He is a very well-dressed, well-groomed African-American gentleman who is a successful executive in Chattanooga and a thriving business owner. And he, of course, is a corporate wolf of the Glasswalkers. He is an absolute expert at assimilation. He wholeheartedly supports and promotes the awareness of African-American culture and history, but he also stresses the importance of white and native folk ways within his community in order to gain a sense of community and belonging for everyone. He grew up in Chattanooga's black community, learned of his African heritage long before he learned of his Garrow legacy, but by the time of his first change, he was already dedicated to bettering African-American communities in his hometown. Before long, he pursued his interests in business and became a mover and a shaker in the area's economy. He was introduced very early to the multi-tribe Sept of the Mountain Watch, and he developed a keen interest in preserving what was left of Lookout and nearby Signal Mountains from further travesties by the tourist industry. He fights to keep Chattanooga's approach to the city honest as possible. And it's incredibly strenuous for just him to undertake, which is one of the many things that people fight him over. Is his corporate wolf nature, his tanglings with the Weaver, and his affairs in human folk, as opposed to outright battling the worm, despite his his auspice as a rune. He's been forced to compromise many times, likewise with the city's vampires, so many that he gained genuine satisfaction in planning and executing the rescue of the captive Gedephemerus Liesel from the clutches of Louis Pettygrass. He is the reason that Liesel remains free. He was the one who negotiated her release from Pettygrass. Fortunately, vampires have fewer loyalties than Garrow, and the affair was likely forgotten. But he understands that in Chattanooga, there's a lot of complex racial attitudes which espouse surface equality while a lot of backstabbing goes on. But he maintains his influential position in Chattanooga's business community and do whatever he can to promote the local welfare of the African-American community. He believes firmly that city and nature must learn to coexist, and it mirrors his views of cooperation between all different communities of different races and ethnicities. He's a very patient man with, as the book says, many of his white colleagues inadvertently racist attitudes. But when encounters blatant or deliberate racism, he does not let it go unpunished. Neo-Nazis in the region do not rest easily, and he is more than one experienced visitation by some nameless nocturnal terror. That being the Tremere.
Yep.
Though recently he's been meeting with another Glasswalker, Megan Alexander, in the hopes of finding common ground between the Glasswalkers in Knoxville and Chattanooga in order to create a unified front of Appalachian Glasswalkers, which is one of the major concerns of some of the other Garrow in the region, is the encroachment of the Glasswalkers and their Weaver ways on very sacred territory.
Mm-hmm.
He is a very, very complex character, but though we have stated multiple times our disdain for the Glasswalker's affinity for the Weaver, especially with a corporate wolf, sighting,
Mm-hmm.
Roy Hartley is one of the few goods in the region. He genuinely wants to make a change. He genuinely wants to stitch wounds and pull people together. He will, and he's working to do it very effectively so. But there are other people that feel like just because of, his nature of negotiating with leeches and the neo-Nazis in the region, the Tremere, fighting him in the nighttime, and his dealings with Megan Alexander in order to create the unified Glasswalkers of the Appalachian region.
Mm-hmm.
He's in a tenuous position, to say the least. But this is one of the gleams of hope, is Roy Hartley.
Really is a fantastic character. I'm very happy he's in this book.
Yes.
Very happy he's in here.
Roy Hartley is one of the best written characters in this book.
Yeah, the dude's base as fuck.
He is. God bless Roy Hartley.
I
Too
don't know.
bad.
I feel conflicted because Glasswalker's taking all the W's.
Too bad.
Exactly. See? That's why he's so good.
Yeah, too bad there's no Glassworkers in the party to interact with them in a positive way.
Yeah, so that's going to make this game incredibly interesting if you guys go down to Chattanooga.
Yeah, and it's your fault because you have to prove Mason wrong.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so
we've got the Red Talons. We've got fucking Tarzan as a character.
Yeah, we do. But
with Forest
that is
Runner.
not the last one I want to talk about. I was hesitant to even talk about her because she has such a fucking outstanding backstory. And I wanted to put her in the game, but I don't think she'd feasibly fit with any of the ideas I have. But I want to talk about her so bad.
Do it.
She is a quote-unquote Shadow Lord. Her name is Tarith. She is
I know who you're talking about.
She is a Shadow Lord Hamid Philodox, a visionary and a mediator. Let me just read this out. Her rites, mystic,
in entirety.
Rite of talisman dedication, rite of the questioning stone, no fetishes. I will read this verbatim from the role-playing notes. If anybody knew what you really were, they would kill you, slowly. Someday you're going to run into a real Shadow Lord, and then it'll be all over creation that you're a fake. You've been lucky so far passing yourself off as a visitor to some of the cairns. Gaia hasn't called down lightning on you or anything like that, so maybe she recognizes that you never actually danced the spiral, and that you're trying to fight what you are. It's hard playing catch as catch can with learning gifts and rites and such. No one's noticed yet that you don't know any of the Shadow Lord gifts, but then no one wants to get close to a Shadow Lord. Some days you feel like you're just packing it all in and giving yourself up to someone. You just can't figure out which could be worse. To die at the hands of Gaia's Garrow, or to live out a member of your life, your real tribe, the Black Spiral Dancers. Tarith grew up in a family of Black Spiral kinfolk not far from Canton near Pigeon River in western North Carolina. She bears the scars from her abuse from all of her formative years in an attempt to prepare her for a fate that was marked for her. Her first change came one night when her father and uncle came in to surprise her. they did not surprise her. She fled the bloody scene as fast as she could and ran smack into the people who were waiting for her, alerted by a kin fetch to her change. They dragged her away to their home, or their hive, and practically on top of a trash dump by the river, they proceeded to enlighten her as to what she was and tease her about what she would have to do to become a member of the tribe. And it became all too clear why she was the way she was. And she decided that this time she was going to make her own decisions. She played along with her abductors, pretending to be an interest in all the grisly details, picking up information on the Garrow as the enemy. And the night before her rite of passage, when she would be forced to dance the spiral, she escaped, changed to wolf form, and disappeared into the hills. Her first trip in the Umber was entirely an accident, but she encountered a friendly spirit who taught her how to sniff out a person's true form. She used the gift to discover other Garrow in the area. The information she gleaned from her Black Spiral kidnappers, she was able to claim she was a Shadow Lord, and she was believed. When asked about her past, she believed she was kicked out because she didn't fit in, and was looking for some way to belong. Not far from the truth, but she is vague on the details about the Shadow Lord. When pressed for her lack of knowledge, she says that she was never properly initiated, which also isn't true. So far, she's succeeded in preventing her discovery, but she lives in constant fear of what might happen to her if she's found out. Tarith could be an incredible story in of herself. I would love, I would adore a book on Tarith. She is such a good character with such a fucking terrifying backstory and such a fucked life. I would love to learn more about Tarith. Or more about Tarith.
Well, of course we have ChatGPT. We could just get an AI-generated story for you, but I'll be missing the heart.
That's not good enough!
Holy crap, your glasswalker is showing. Stop it.
Well, no, Johnny already is a glasswalker. He's a Deus Ultimate.
Yeah, I already am.
That's what stirs the pot is.
Yeah.
I know. I was saying.
Yes.
His glasswalker is showing.
This is why I'm a Fianna. I just drink a lot. Anyway.
That's the simplest thing. Like,
I'm so sad that I have no ideas how to implement Tarith into the story, because she would be so fucking good to explore the character.
Like an arc villain.
Honestly, I'm sure I could think of something. I could really think of something, and I want to, because I fucking love Tarith's story.
Yeah, personally, I like this too, because did any other module said about like Black Spiral Redemption?
Yes. Go ahead.
Black Spiral Redemption, which could lead to Black Spiral as a tribe redemption, transforming them again into White Howlers.
Yes.
Exactly.
Once every 100 years, you get a White Howler amongst them.
Like we said during the Uktena episode that they were experimenting with a path of with a rite of cleansing potent enough to rid a Black Spiral of their banes, and they had not yet found one. And the only thing that gets in my craw is that there are no Uktena in the party. Otherwise, that would be a fucking massive plot point.
You got a Wendigo.
And she is like in setting, and there are Uktena right there. That's just, that's the best, but she don't want to show her true colors because she knows what would happen.
Yeah.
In the 99%, she would die.
She is poised. She is perfectly poised to be the center of a story arc. And any storyteller that has got some crazy ideas, you can either use this character or use her as a base for another story.
Yes. She's so fucking well written. And I like, my eyes bogged out of my head when I read her backstory. She was just I never would have considered that was possible.
And we would go over some of the Uktena, but they're a little simple, in all honesty.
Oh,
Because it's more like here's the guy, he's the leader, he's pretty much follows every chief trope you really know. Here's the guy who likes the Nuninhi, he really fucking hates white people. Big surprise, you remember the Actena.
Yes, we've been over this.
yeah.
Here's Aida, she is the speak, damn it, come on,
I don't know.
ghost dancer, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's a little, it's good that there's that many Actena in there and they're essential for the setting, but I don't think they don't have their fangs bared quite like the other ideas we've gone over. Now you could say that's an indictment of the book, but at the same time it is what it is. The book's been written. Any jackass can knock down a barn. It takes a carpenter to build it back up. Do you have a better idea?
Basically, yeah.
I mean, if you're just going to shit on the book and you don't have any better idea, then just shut the fuck up about it.
I mean, also, like, you have, like, these blueprints for, like, Octana, and your storyteller could simply just add something up. I mean, why not? It's like, it's you buy the book, it's the setting, but you can change it however you want.
Yes. I mean, I did have an idea that I was initially going to make a Wendigo, but now I'm probably going to change him to be an Actena. Just as, like, just somebody, an NPC that you run into where you can get medical supplies.
Now, speaking of which, we have a Wendigo in this book, and he's pretty good.
Yeah, let me see where I got it. I think I have it somewhere.
I beat it to you.
Please, thank you.
See, here he is. Here's the Wild Goose Call, where, given my story that I told in the server about the fucking goose encounter.
I had one of those earlier today, actually.
It's fucking... It can't hurt you, but it's so damn mean for no reason.
Wait, I hate to get off...
Why? That's the Wendigo totem. That's why.
Yeah,
I hate to get off track, but I remember I was driving to practice and I like completely autopiloted and kept the road straight. Realized I was autopiloting, and I turned into a driveway, like a long driveway into a farmhouse, and standing there right by the creek by the road was a goose just walking around, and I was backing up, and the goose kept like walking around and like flapping its wings at the back of my car. I rolled down my window and I literally yelled at it for no reason. I was just like, "Hey, I went fucking around. I'm turning around. Now get the fuck away from my car, you little shit." And it just flapped its wings again. I rolled up my window. I drove away.
I mean, for me, I got jumped in the parking lot by a goose because I was walking out to the car with the supervisor because we were off to do a reset, and a goose just walks up from behind the car and gets right in my face, flying in my face. I'm trying to smack it with a Gatorade banner, and I miss all 4 of my swings.
That's funny. I almost got ran over by a deer one time in a parking lot.
Oh, you dumbass animals, get on the road.
In the middle of the day, nonetheless.
But here's the Wild Goose Call. This dude has a goose companion, a gaffling of Goose, who follows him around. And Goose tells him all these stories. Goose is a damn chatterbox who never shuts up. And thanks to his bond with this goose spirit, he got the deed name for it. And he's all about the gossip. He's all about the dirt. He's all about hearing people's stories. And he is a Galliard, right?
Yes,
he is a Galliard. And he knows all these different stories from all these different people that he's met throughout his life. And he's super interested in anthropology because of all the different people he's talked to throughout his life. And he started branching out from the Wendigo, from the waters that the Wendigo typically hang around, to European, African, and Asian people as well. And with his stories, he's using these as inspiration for the Nuninhi, where he's going over to the Nuninhi and telling them the stories he's heard in order to help inspire them with their dreaming, along with going around and telling other people's stories in hopes that he can squash some racial tension and create more unity amongst people. And there you go, you got a chill Actena. You got a chill Wendigo.
Yeah, rare, but it happens.
Now I'm going to do the exact opposite of that.
Yes, you are. If you run into him, you'd be like, "Bro, what the fuck are you doing?"
Here's a knife, you know what to do with it.
I was trying to tell stories in order to spread enlightenment, and here you are undoing all my hard work.
And we've got a few other ferret characters. We've got a girl hero. We got here. We've got a girl called Bessie Hardwinter, who's pretty much the mountain mom who's making sure all the little baby girl have a place to sleep. A Pomonka, where it goes into detail about how the Pomonka can just get dunked on, how they don't contribute to anything to the setting.
Yeah, it's a place for the baby girl to sleep, all two of them.
Exactly. You killed them all.
My fault.
Now, funny enough, the Pomonka in question, Marissa Manycolors, is a big ally of the Fianna, and she considers herself more Irish than she does Pomokan.
That's kind of funny.
We have no Nuisha. Instead, we've got Kitsune.
Yeah, that I found a little jarring.
Yeah, like what the fuck? Yeah, and you're saying he's from Tryon, as in North Tryon, Charlotte, North Carolina. Dog, there's not a Japanese population of that size in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
You're talking about University City when you're talking about that, and no, that's filled with white liberals more than anything else. Oh my god, I hate being around there. But yeah, he's a guy, and very similar to Roy, he's a corporate mastermind who's over there to make some money and to mastermind some stuff behind the scenes. He's big in the golf and community theater. Is his thing. And then you've got an Ananasi, which I'm very happy about. May a Geru find you and snap your neck one day, but until then, you're making a pretty interesting story.
Yep. Arachilia Longley. I didn't take many notes on the Farah. I didn't have a whole lot of time to.
Where don't worry, because it's not that much. They're not tied to any of the story beats with the Cairns or anything like that.
Yeah, they're just kind of there.
Yeah. So she's pretty much like her mother, the Ananasi character, Arachila. Her mother got Harano and killed herself, and she had to raise herself at the same time she was going through her first change.
That's fucked.
Yeah, so this is a character that's carrying a ton of mental baggage. And next up we've got, well, let's take time to cover this guy, the best villain in the game.
Who would that be?
So, you love rock and roll, don't you?
Oh, goddamn right I do.
Alright, so what if I told you there was an evil Iggy Pop in this game?
I'd say I want to be your dog.
See. So, there's a dude in here, and I'm getting his page ready for you because you've got to see what the fuck this guy's portrait looks like. There's also a few Ninhi characters in here too, where they're good. They're good. There's a couple Kith in here for that you can play as good. They're all good. But above the Bloodsons, you've got Screamin' Joe Huckster. I gotta make sure I was saying that last name right.
Yep.
And the dude looks something like this. Pulled it up in the notes page.
Yes, indeed.
You see this dude?
Yeah, he's fucking scuffed looking. He's got snake eyes.
That's his worm taint, the snake eyes.
Yep.
Holy crap.
And his whole mission, spread the peace and love of the worm through sex, love, and rock and roll. He's out on the street in an underground band, trying to get as many people addicted to drugs and alcohol as possible.
Yep. Demeanor show off. I love it.
Yeah, where he's this evil guitarist who's going around saying, this Motley Crue style lifestyle, you need to live this. And in doing so, he's doing what pretty much the Setites are doing, leading you down a life of excess, where you're not going to be able to control it, and he's not able to control it either. He's supposed to be something like this dark rock and roll messiah. You remember Kilroy Is Here, right? The Styx album?
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, if you were to take Kilroy and you were to make him a villain, this is what he is.
Can't stop the music, you son of a bitch.
You're already forming ideas for this guy, I can tell.
Oh, I fucking love him, dude. Rock and roll, buddy. Rock and roll.
And speaking of rock and roll, before my fucking Bluetooth dies, we got one more character to go over.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about Changeling.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's a red cap.
Good old Lily Wildflower.
Yeah, Lily Wildfire. Not the beautiful she that you see above you. No, we get to talk about the. No, actually, I'm wrong. That's a puka in the top left.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But no,
and
down.
she's
Hey, Homer.
Yeah, there really is.
I'm gonna be honest. I've been to West Virginia multiple times in my life. I've never goddamn seen anybody that looks like that.
Oh yeah, it's like she looks a lot like a gas station worker.
She kind of does, but well, no. All the gas station workers in West Virginia are like middle-aged women who are way too smart to be working at a gas station.
Yeah, that this could be her because she's a roadie for rock bands around Boone. There's a ton of North Carolina locations. In this book.
I think that's where they intentionally wanted the campaign to be played. But like most of my knowledge of Appalachia is West Virginia based.
But she traveled for groups like Alabama and Van Halen, and she got to hang around them. Yeah, exactly. Your favorite band gets name dropped in here.
Yes, and I grew up on Van Halen. Come on. This book was made for me.
Her whole plot line is that she hates the she, and that's your little plot hook. If you want to get at Countess Toriasa, who is the she, where she's pretty much like every she's a queen bee bitch. You want to team up with a red cap and ruin the queen bee's day. That's your plot line. And let's take a look at her glamours, by the way. Let's see what she comes equipped with. Wayfarer.
Yep.
So, super speed. That's what she's got. She fights the same way that Danny Grandslam does.
All right, I'm on board.
Yeah. And given that Actor 3, Faith 1, Prop 4, her fighting style seems to be around making other people faster, and making objects that she throws move at high speed.
That's the point of a roadie, really.
Yeah, so there you go. So she's going to pick up that baseball bat and throw it at you at high speed, and you're going to hear the sound of it, and then it's going to hit you in the face as you're turning to look at what's flying your way.
And where you're like, I'd let her hit me in the nose with a fucking Gibson SG.
Yes. And that's basically the story. Now, we do have a few worm beasts around the area. We have time to really talk about one. We're just going to bring up one in all this. Now, keep in mind, there are some mages around the area, namely the Celestial Chorus has a holding here.
There's also some Dream Speakers as well. We mentioned that earlier.
Yeah. But let's talk about this guy very briefly. Judakula, the slant-eyed giant of the mountains. Now, with a name like that...
Yeah.
Like giants
Let's
who
see
fight Fenris, and they were freaking shot back to Purulence because they didn't work in Europe.
Look, you're playing Rage Against Appalachia. Do you want to play fucking Shadow of the Colossus? Yeah.
There it is. This is the final boss of your game, depending on what it is.
Yep.
Where dude has got a ton of abilities here. Air sense, forest sense. There's nothing this guy can't pick up on perception check. And his stats not listed. He doesn't have them listed in full. The essential stuff is, such as a 10 in strength, 3 in dexterity, 8 in stamina, along with attracting and Umbraquake abilities. 12 levels of health, dude.
What the fuck? You know what? Grim could take him.
And his punches deal 11 aggravated damage.
Grim could take him.
You got. That's a hell of a soak roll.
Yeah.
Again, Grim could take him. I gotta say it because he's not here to say it.
It is. And there's
know who could take it?
Who?
A boot.
He
Actually,
probably
yeah,
could.
Pooh could probably take it.
He
Yeah, with the
survived
might
that.
of Thor, I think he could go within 12 levels of
He
health.
survived the battle with King Abaddon.
Yeah.
Now, very little is known about this dude in lore because nobody has survived to tell the tale about this guy.
Not even a Korax?
No, not even that. You encounter this guy, you die. We're not even sure if we know his full abilities. Now, the whole premise of this guy is that legend has it is that he tried courting a young maiden, kind of like the whole tribal princess, like the Pocahontas kind of person, only to get brutally rejected by the father. And now he's out roaming the land. Pretty much the pain of heartbreak has turned him into the giant he is today. And he goes through an entire forest and mountains can get leveled by this guy if he's in the middle of a rampage. Thankfully, he's sleeping, or so we hope. And when he pops out in the Umbra, that's going to be a hell of a fight. Nobody has managed to put this guy down yet.
That's a final boss encounter if I've ever seen one.
Yeah. You also got one more, but they don't have a picture, called the Fire Carriers, where you want to know how forest fire starts? Sometimes a corrupted wild spirit gets a big match, runs through the forest, drops into a bush, and then boom, forest fire.
That means I get to play the song Forest Fire by Dead Kennedys and annoy the hell out of everybody in the session.
Yeah, you gotta find that giant floating, you gotta find that little matchstick. It's got like the little, like, avoid the annoyed laugh going off next to it, and you gotta catch it before it goes into a bush.
You know what's weird is that I've never actually, like, been around, like, I've lived here for around about, the Appalachian region about 20 years. I've never seen a forest fire here.
It's because the werewolves are doing their job.
Well, yeah, that, and it's a much more, it's a much wetter region than California.
Mm-hmm. And all said and done, this is a pretty good book.
This is why I'm running it. It's going to be partially Red Dead Redemption, partially Twisted Metal.
Yeah. Now, Rapper, do you have any thoughts on the setting?
I think this is good setting.
Mm.
You can add to something, but there is very good ideas and storylines you could make. I think like the module, I know the module like for Warhammer Fantasy 2nd edition or the 4th edition.
Yes.
This is good. This is tell you what could premise be, but tells you what are people who lives here, who are essential for the story, so you can make this world alive and realistic to the degree of World of Darkness.
And you're getting your money's worth with this too, because there's not just one; there's 2 adventure modules in this book too.
Yeah, it's both a werewolf book and a changeling book.
Yeah.
Along with 2 different adventures. And dog, I'm giving this a high score. I'm gonna say this is probably not it's missing the Nuisha, and I have seen coyotes in my backyard, dude. There's definitely
They're
Nuisha
all over
here,
the goddamn place.
So I'm gonna say, like, the Nuisha itself, that's like such a boneheaded mistake, dude. But everything else about this is
for me.
I think on
the
module tier list, I'm gonna put this in the good category. It's just 2 degrees off from based.
I'm putting this at
like
9.
The highest of A or highest of good depends on your on your table.
Yeah, this book gets an A+ for me. I really like it. I really dig this book.
So Rage Across Appalachia gets an A on the soon-to-be-created Werewolf the Apocalypse module tier list.
Tune in next week where we get to talk about the opposite of Appalachia.
Where would that be?
Russia.
Cold, barren, fuck off, nothing.
With a government that's actively trying to kill you instead of pretending.
Yeah, that's the thing I like about the Russians. At least they don't lie about wanting to kill you, black bag you, and make your whole family forget you exist.
Yeah, just go ahead and
maybe today, but I don't think so.
Just go ahead and get in that car with Lavrenti Beria. Just go ahead and get in his car.
Yeah. Oh, mate, 20,000 people go to the scuttle wagons and see what happens.
Good lord. See, Rapid has more to worry about because he's in Poland, so like they're on his doorstep.
Yeah, we have few encounters. I mean, I don't know if we're still rolling or not. I'm gonna say this: we are the only country who take Moscow. So
You got
Yeah.
this, bro. I got faith in you. I could call up my buddy Will. He'll come over to help you.
That was a perfect time to invest in weapons.
Yeah, we're opening the Send Guns to Poland fund.
Yeah.
yeah,
Call your local DS Ultimate friend.
No, that's a corporate wolves venture if I've ever heard one, trying to outbid Herculean Firearms and Astra Martin.
and that's a wrap. I think we're done.
Yep. Good night, everybody.
yeah.
GM.
Take care and drink water.